it don't get no better than consciousness info. sa.neter TV7. You keep it hot 24/7. You got that Black Force 102. sa.neter TV2. Yeah.
You are now inside sa.neter Studios, the House of Consciousness production. Black news presentation.
All right, peace and Black Power family. You already know what it is, man. We got the man up in the building. He's doing so much work around the community, in and outside of his own neighborhood, family. The brother don't have that much time to just be up here. Not to just be up here, but to only be here. He's moving all around the world. And Brother Jabari, y'all know I speak of none other than one of our young grandmaster teachers here. Brother Jabari, I went to go see your teacher the other day, a couple of days ago, and I grabbed Reggie by the hand and put his ass in the car and made him man up and go see our elder, brother. It was a good meeting. The brother Reggie felt good after it. You know, like you turn the light out, the roaches will come out and play.
Than virtually anyone else. And so that's the challenge that we have. That's the challenge that we have. And I know that we're going to have a lot of folks that say ridiculous things. Let me say to you folks, if you have an opinion, you know that sa.neter is going to open the lines. Come and speak on it. Because what you are saying in the chat, some of you, most of you aren't, but some of you, is ridiculous, and it can be easily dismantled. That's it. That's it. That's it. So I want to see you righteously superfly. Stop yapping in the chat. High Bank's official music page, stop yapping in the chat. All of you who are yapping in the chat, come forward. Come forward. And be dismantled like everybody else. Be dismantled like everybody else. I had a conversation with Sister Shanjor, went very badly. She was dismantled like everybody else. Had a conversation with Top Cats, dismantled like everybody else. This is regular. And it's not just me. Look at what Rob Warren does to the Aboriginal community. Look at Rob Warren. So I want to say that we have a lot of work to do, and we have to make sure that we do the work. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I am going to go forward and analyze what Sister Chief Morning Thunder, what Sister Chief Morning Thunder said. And I want to say once again, I have no animosity for that sister. None whatsoever. I don't know her. When you listen to her, you will hear pain. That's what you're going to hear. And I almost feel bad going after someone who's in pain. But the reality is she's doing damage to the rest of the community. And she is one of Dane Calloway's acolytes. There are lots of videos of her talking and asking him questions and him teaching her. We've seen that. If you haven't seen it, please don't spend time looking for it. I may show you some of that tonight. She's one of his acolytes. So we're going to deal with it. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. I don't know if sa.neter really wants me to do this presentation, because I know that he wants to put the sister up for a debate. After you see what I've put together, some of you may not want to see her in a debate anymore. Almost as soon as she opens her mouth, she says some things that are regrettable. And you know very well that if Jabari is vetting you, I'm going to read what you read. I'm going to search the sites that you search. I'm going to look at you. I'm going to put the magnifying glass on you, as scholars do. This is what scholars do. Is what this person's saying something that we can verify with simple logic an analysis of sources, and an understanding of the context of the conversation. That is what scholars do. And so we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it. So without further ado, I hope sa.neter is there so that he can actually show you this. Let's see. Hopefully you can show it, sa.neter. It's up. Great. I'm glad he's there. I want you to see this issue dismantled. And when you look at this, I want you to recognize who we're talking about, what we're talking about. Just look at the image on the screen. That is a person of African descent standing with a Native person, a First Nations person. We had a very interesting relationship with them. And I'm going to say to you, all of it wasn't good. All of it wasn't wonderful. For the most part, I think that our communities worked together and we have similar worldviews, but all of that relationship wasn't good. I'm looking for the book. I'm going to grab it in a moment. The book that deals with enslaved people who were enslaved by Native communities. By the way, do you ever notice that the Aboriginals never talk about them? Did you ever notice that? Do you know that many of the people who are people of African descent, who are citizens in Native nations today, are people who are citizens because they were enslaved by those nations? Did you know that? Why is it that none of the Aboriginals say, I'm a member of this nation because I'm a freedman? Why is that? It's because they are not analyzing things based on a historical understanding of the data. So let's get it in. First, I want to make sure that I'm sharing my audio. And sa.neter, I'm going to ask you in a moment to see if you can hear the videos properly. I hope you're able to. There is usually a setting that says that I want my audio to be heard. Let's continue. Let's see if it works. Okay, let's move. By the way, the Lost Confederacy, where are your documents? You're lecturing like a preacher. If you have ever watched me, you know that I'm going to come with a blinding array of sources. So sit back, take out a pen and a pad, and stop typing. Stop typing. Just be prepared to write things down. This is only my opening. You should know that by now. Let's continue. First of all, one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about this, sa.neter, is because there was a major article that was released just last week in the New York Times. I know it's not just the New York Times, but this was very interesting. 2 Black members of Native tribes were arrested. The law only sees one as Indian. A Supreme Court ruling barred Oklahoma from prosecuting crimes against Native Americans on tribal land. But some Black tribal members are still being prosecuted because they lack Indian blood. Did you read this? By the way, this is reprehensible. But I want you to recognize that the issue of whether some Black folks who can trace their families back to people who were enslaved by Native Americans is a real issue. And we should be supporting their candidacy for citizenship in those nations. Why is it we never hear them mention this? Why? Because they aren't reading. So look at this. The key difference in the fate of the 2 men was race. Specifically, a small degree of what is known in the courts as Indian blood. Mr. Wilson is 164th Creek Indian. Mr. Hill is a citizen of the Cherokee Nation through ancestors called freedmen, Black people who were enslaved by Native tribes. Because Mr. Hill's ancestors did not have Indian blood, he was found in court not to be Indian. Do you see what's going on here? This is an issue. And we should make sure, yes, 164, Reese, 164. That's a very small amount, right? But understand that Mr. Hill, Michael Hill, the brother in this picture, should be treated as a member of that nation because they enslaved him and they owe him. That's the issue. That's the issue. Let's continue. He's a member of the Cherokee Nation, Philip Peake, Mr. Hill's lawyer, said in court arguments. Yet when he steps in this courtroom, all of a sudden he's not. Mr. Hill is one of several present-day freedmen, as they are known for their ancestry, who have been caught in the middle of a feud between the state of Oklahoma and tribal nations after the Supreme Court ruled in 2020 that much of eastern Oklahoma falls within an Indian reservation. Did you even know that the Supreme Court ruled on that? Their dilemma stems from federal court rulings that define what it means to be considered Indian in the eyes of the criminal justice system. Take a look at this issue. This is a major issue, and you're not going to hear them address it. This is not the only one. Take a look at this article. This is from 2020. Black Native American and fighting for recognition in Indian country. Enslaved people were also driven west along the Trail of Tears. After a historic Supreme Court ruling, their descendants are fighting to be counted as tribal members. Did you know that this was occurring? This is where our energy should be. This is where our energy should be. We should be making sure that those individuals who can prove that their families were enslaved by Native people are made right by them. That's what we should be doing. We should support them. Look at what Ron Grant said. Ron Grant never had to prove to anyone that he was Black, but he spent more than 30 years haunting tribal offices and genealogical archives, fighting for recognition that he is also a citizen of the Muskogee Creek Nation. We're African American, Mr. Graham, 55, said, but we're Native American also. See, one of the challenges that people will do, one of the challenges that the Aboriginals have, is that they try to make it sound like, yeah, there are some Black people who are a part of Native American nations. And that's true. That's a fact. But then what they try to say is they try to say that they're members of these nations, and because they're members of these nations, it means that they're not African. When the people who are rightful members of those nations always acknowledge their African heritage. I'm going to show you some of the errors. By the way, the Lost Confederate says this is easy work. He's citing articles in the news. Right, I'm citing articles in what is called the paper of record, the New York Times. I don't know what kind of play school stuff you're going to bring. But if you're not going to bring stuff that is verified, then you are going to look ridiculous. And I have no problem with you looking ridiculous. So come forward and do it. Let's go. I didn't want this to come up yet, but I want you to recognize that when we talk about this sister, Chief Morning Thunder, that's not the name she goes by at work and other places. She's known as Bethy Guiles, Bethonia Smith Guiles. Bethonia Smith Guiles. This is not unimportant. Let's see if I can. You know what? Let me fix this really quickly, sa.neter. This is what happens when you create a presentation quickly. I want to make sure that it runs properly because you have to be able to see what we're dealing with here. Give me a second. We're going to fade it in. This becomes extremely important because what we're really doing is we're trying to vet the person who is speaking. That is important. We have to vet the people who are speaking. When someone comes before our community to teach, who are they? Isn't that a simple question you should ask? Who are they? And is what they're saying something that we can verify? Is what they're saying something that follows basic logic? And I want you to know that within the first few words, she says something that can't possibly be true about herself. About herself. one of the things that sa.neter does is sa.neter will ask a lot of questions. And he knows that as he's asking the questions, other people are going to come behind and check what your responses were. He knows that. He knows that. In fact, sometimes when y'all are beating him up about the answers in the chat, he basically tells you, don't beat them up, because he has a strategy.
Yeah, I don't want you to make them run. You know, don't make them run.
Hear their ideas so that we can
don't make them run, man, because you're going to
don't hear the ideas. How can you vet them?
Right. Hey, Jabari, before you continue, I have one of the most powerful chiefs that's coming out, calling you out. So we're going to look forward to that. I just sent you his YouTube channel.
Really? So
you can see what he's about. And that should be a real powerful debate with you and him. He's like, I think he's up there with the other dude.
What is the team rally?
Yeah, he's up there with Dame Calloway.
He's one of his acolytes, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever heard of? They got some weird names, but I understand. He's a student of Chief Alligator. You ever heard of Chief Alligator? You type it in, but see, that's what the Chiefs been naming themselves after animals. That's a lot of them.
I didn't hear. It's not that I have a problem with them naming themselves after animals. I just don't. Anyway. I actually heard you mention him.
His name is Chief Biko. Chief Biko. Yeah.
I think I've seen Chief Biko in the chat before.
Yeah, he was one of the students. So I sent you his page.
Good.
And so
good.
And
yeah,
that right there will be a nice fight right there.
Already knows that while I don't know who these people are, if I'm going to talk to them, I do some research. That's how I get down. And as soon as I start doing that, they get angry. And, I'm going to tell you, my life is really, if you look on the internet, you're going to see information about me for literally over 20 years, easily. But very often, one of the things that folks do is they don't give us any information about themselves so that we're not able to properly vet them. But that's not what happened here with Chief Morning Thunder. Can you share this? I don't know if you know this, sa.neter, but she's often known as Bethy, and her full name is actually Bethonia Smith Guiles.
Hey, Jabari, that's my girl, Bethy. That's what the Paul's going to be taking on.
There's a reason why I'm showing you all of this. Please.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Bethy. Go ahead.
Yep. That's Chief Morning Thunder. We're going to deal with it. Because as soon as she starts to speak, she already starts to say things that sound bizarre. And so when someone says something that sounds bizarre, we vet it. That's what we do. That's what you're supposed to do. So take a listen to what. Oh, by the way, before I even say that, did you know, sa.neter, that she tried to run for governor of Connecticut?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you know that?
No, sir. No. But at least she tried to run, though. She
tried to run for. Now listen, she couldn't get enough signatures on the petition to get her name on the ballot.
Oh man.
But she attempted to run for governor of Connecticut in 2018. Here's the committee. She filed the paperwork with the state. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know none of that.
Fascinating. And this isn't even a knock on her. I just thought, listen, if I ran for governor, I would wish somebody would mention it. That's fascinating to me, right? Really? Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's continue.
Yo, when you go after somebody, you do research, brother.
I do research.
Yeah.
Because I want to know
who's the brother YouTube channel so you can look him up. Look at him.
You know what the problem is, sa.neter? When you see me up here, Jabari Osaze is on my license, right? That's my name.
That's true.
Sometimes some of these people that we have that come before us, we don't know who they are. We have no clue. We have no clue who they are. And that's part of the challenge. Anyway, I want you to listen to her explain who she is. And I want you to really, that man changed his name. I did change my name, but you already know, what my birth name is too. I'm an open book. You know what my birth name is. I did change my name. But Jabari Osaze is the name on my license. That's what I'm saying to you. It is my legal name. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I did change my name. I changed my name in 1995. By the way, I believe I've already showed the name change paperwork on your channel very early on. So I'm not trying to hide who I am. So I want you to listen to her explain herself, and then we're going to hear a problem right in the first few moments of her talking. Listen.
Bad back in the 80s.
Can you hear this?
I moved to the Capitol.
Yes, I can hear it.
And I where I went to grad school and I went to college. I have 3 master's degrees. I have a degree in I have a master's in social work. I have a degree in legal studies, and I have a degree in criminal justice.
Beautiful.
I've been now working for the state of Connecticut for 30.
I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Folks, did you hear her say that she has 3 master's degrees? You heard that, right? I know I did. She has 3 master's degrees. Let's look.
37 years, and I can't wait to retire.
Let's look. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? Well, you just have to go. This is her information. She put this out. This is LinkedIn. This is LinkedIn. By the way, she's a senior executive assistant. She's a senior executive assistant in Connecticut. By the way, that means that she's an executive assistant. That's what she does. She's a secretary. And I want you to know that as you listen to her say, I work for the government, you would really think that she has a highly placed position. Anyway, so on her LinkedIn, this is information that you put in. Nobody puts this in for you. Does it look like she has 3 master's degrees? No. You mean as soon as you open your mouth, you're already telling mistruths? As soon as you open your mouth. Is that what you're going to do? Really? Really? It's the first few words she said. Now, I didn't go and call the institutions to see if these degrees are actually degrees that she was conferred. I didn't go that far. There was no need to do that. I'm not really interested in doing that, right? But what does she say? In her LinkedIn, she says she has a master's degree of case management and casework. By the way, I've never heard of a social work master's degree in case management and casework. And I have supervised MSWs. I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before. But then she says she has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and corrections, an associate's degree, and another bachelor's degree. That's what she says. Why did she say she has 3 master's degrees? Why would she say that? If you don't have 3 master's degrees, why would you say you have 3 master's degrees? Right off the bat, this is slippery. This is what she puts on the internet. No one else puts it there for her. Amazing. Let's continue. Now, the next thing that sa.neter asked is, how do you know that you're an Aboriginal? How do you know that you're an American Indian, as she calls herself? More on that term, by the way. And J-Rock, I do not say I'm from Kemet. So J-Rock, please listen. Instead of typing, why don't you take a pad out and write things down? If you disagree with me, you can. If you disagree with me, you can. But listen first. Don't say ridiculous things. I've been on sa.neter's platform hundreds of times. You have never heard me say, I'm from Kemet. You've never heard me say that. Don't embarrass yourself to the rest of the chat. Okay. Let's listen to her explanation of how she knows she's an Aboriginal. I want you to hear sa.neter's question and hear her answer. If you don't hear pain, I don't know what you're listening to. Listen to what she says.
If you learn
that she was an Aboriginal American Indian?
Well, as a kid, when Roots came out, this is when I literally first learned. We used to watch Roots. We made it a family thing to watch the movie Roots. And it was so, my grandmother had 52 grandchildren. Well, all 52 of us wasn't in the house, of course, but as a family, we would watch Roots. We watched the movie Roots for the first time when it came out, and we cried when they caught Kunta Kinte and the net and things. We really started crying. So my grandmother was like, what are y'all crying for? And because she said, y'all ain't African, and that's when we learned that we wasn't African. Wow. So y'all ain't no Africans. We said they caught Kunta Kinte. We was crying. We were young. I think I was in 6th grade when that movie came out. And that's when she told us, but she never went any further into us about being Indians. Now, a lot of us, a lot of us, when we were little, I do remember, back in the 70s, if you caught someone Black or African, those were like real fighting words. We would have fights, like if someone called you Black or they called you African, that was a fight in our community. We didn't know why, but it was just a rank, a rank word. Like if they called you an African or a booty scratcher, that was a fight between girls and boys and girls. So.
The question was, how do you know that you're an Aboriginal? And she gets to talking about African booty scratchers. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Did you just see her comment, Brother Jabari?
Of course I did. Of course I did. Sister Bethy, please sit down first and look at my dismantling of you so that you can respond.
Right. Right.
Don't lie yet. Did you hear what she said? She says that, by the way, if she wasn't an African, why did her family make it a point of the whole family watching Roots? She starts with that. And then she says her grandmother says, y'all ain't African. That's how she figured it out. sa.neter, this is one of those things that frustrates me so much. I have to describe this. First of all, when you go to the level of your grandparents, each of them gives you 25% of your DNA. Her grandmother, whether it was maternal or paternal, gave her 25% of her DNA. That means that there's 75% of that DNA that is not in the purview of the lady that said, you're not an African. So right off the bat, I would need to hear from 3 more people. At least. That's how genealogy works. They claim to be experts of genealogy, and everything they say means that they have no idea what it is.
This is Rob Bourne right here. Each one teach one.
And I know that Rob Bourne is on the case on the Listen, Rob Bourne and I sometimes scuffle, but I'm telling you, if Rob Bourne and I became a team and they wouldn't hide, there wouldn't be one Aboriginal on YouTube left. There wouldn't be one left. Eviscerated. But what they do is they hide. So I want you to hear that doesn't make sense. Just because your grandmother said you're not African, by the way, maybe she meant you're Black, you're a Negro, you're not an African from the continent. She certainly didn't say you're a native. And then on top of that, she answers a question of how you know you're an Aboriginal and not an African by talking about African booty scratchers and that the term African was fighting words. I didn't say that, son. I didn't make it up. She said it. When you listen to her, she is speaking about pain. To a certain extent, I struggle vetting her because I know that this sister is in pain. And I want you to also listen to her talk about how her parents felt about being Black and their preference for Puerto Ricans. By the way, she says Puerto Ricans come from South America. Sa.neter! Listen to what she says.
If you learn that she was an Aboriginal American Indian. Well,
wait, I think this is the same video. Did I play that? Wait, go to the next one.
So, you experienced that? Home, like,
turn it down a little bit because it's a little distorted, Jabari.
Turn it down.
Yeah, turn it down a little bit because you got it all the way up. It's a little distorted.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Your grandmother tells you that you are not Africans. How did your grandmother look? Does she look like an African woman?
I actually have a picture of her, but
you want to show it?
Yes. My grandmother had really high cheekbones. As a matter of fact, my grandmother really, literally, let me go on put my page up. My grandmother, when she was younger, she looks a lot like Queen Latifah.
Because back then, during them times, our grandmothers, they was already programmed and conditioned. And they would tell the women, I hope you don't marry no Black man. I hope you go out there and get you a Dominican man or something so his hair can be nice. You never heard that growing up?
No, as a matter of fact, I come from a very heavily racist family. And I got it bad both sides. I was the black sheep of the family as far as my immediate family. My grandmother, my mother, and my dad were terribly racist. The only people that we were allowed to even be around were Puerto Ricans. So when I was a young girl, I had a thing for Puerto Rican dudes because we grew up in the hood with them. That's where they put them when they came from South America, and they was considered niggas like us. Excuse my French, but yeah, my parents were very, very racist.
Now, if you don't hear pain, what are you listening to? She's telling you that her parents even taught her to give her a preference for Puerto Ricans, who she says come from South America. Sister Bethy, instead of typing, please pull out a map. Pull out a map. By the way, Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
Oh, you can hit the link when we finish and you can ask the questions.
I mean, this is problematic. This is problematic. And we continue to hear those things. By the way, one of the ridiculous people in chat said, you didn't pull up one source. Actually, I've already shown you two sources, but they're more. They're more. Maybe you're not sure what a source is. They're more. Before I show you a source, I want to show you why I'm showing you the source. So I want you to hear something really quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want to be really clear about this. I'm not saying that African-American people, that people of African descent in the United States can't have Native American blood. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Cocaine on the Wood Grain said, how can you tell her about her life? I didn't tell her anything about her life. She's talking about her own life. You heard it. Look at this. I want you to understand that simply because there are African Americans who also have Native heritage doesn't mean that Africans that I'm refuting that Africans might have come here before Columbus, and I'm not saying that there aren't people of mixed parentage. You have to understand that there were African people that actually had close relationships with Native communities. And there were Africans who voluntarily joined Native people. There were also Africans who were enslaved by Native people and became parts of those Native people. So there are people of African descent who have, sa.neter, if you can take that down so folks can read the screen. There are people of African descent who have mixed parentage. I am not denying mixed parentage. What I'm trying to give you an idea of is the fallacy that they continue to speak in saying that Africans, Black people in the United States, are not Africans. That's what I'm addressing. So all of you who are thinking, well, look, I have one person that I know definitely in my family is Native American. I'm not contesting that. That's not what we're talking about. Their argument is that Black people are not Africans. We have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. Jabari ain't qualified to speak on American history. One of us, friend, is a professor of history. The other is not, and that's you. Let's continue. Take a look at this person, Wildfire Edmonia Lewis. By the way, you should know that Dane Calloway uses her picture to try to say that Black people are natives. And let's be clear, she actually is Native. She has shared parentage that she was very proud of. Her father was an Afro-Haitian, and her mother was Ojibwe and also African. She was very clear about her heritage. So when they show you this image and say that she is actually a Native, that's true. But that doesn't mean that we're not people of African descent. That's what they're trying to say. How about this person? He uses this one all the time. All the time. This is Diana Fletcher, born in 1838 in Florida. She's an educator who was born to an African who had escaped to Florida and a Seminole. And her mother died on the Trail of Tears. So yes, Diana Fletcher is both African and also Native. So there are people who have this blood. That's not what I'm contesting. Oh, here are some of his images. He continues to use them. Look at this. He continues to use their images. Anyway, let's continue. So that's not going to go through this part. Look at this. She also says, and this is something that you hear Dane Calloway say all the time. They all, and she says it as well. White people fooled us into thinking that we were African. White people fooled us into thinking that we are African.
We migrated all over the world, man. We migrated all over the world. And you're telling me that you never seen no Native. I know you've seen them on the movies. I know you've seen them on TV. You know? So come on. So let me ask this sister real quick. Do you deny the African blood that exists within our veins? Do you have African blood in you, sister?
I don't believe I do.
Oh my God, man. What do you have against Africa, if you have anything about it? Keep it real, keep it 100. What do you have against Africa?
That's the funny thing. I don't have anything against African. I don't dislike them. You know, I have nothing against Africans. And, you know, I have quite a few conversations with people from different parts of Africa, like Nigeria and Liberia. Like, I let the Liberian sisters...
You look Nigerian.
That's funny. No, but I'm not.
They're saying you look like you're from Nigeria.
Yeah, well, they're going to say that because unfortunately, our people were heavily indoctrinated. And I know this to be true. And we've been so indoctrinated by white mainstream society's history about our history to the point where it's completely dangerous. And being in state government and having access to different archival files from different local towns, you get to see the real picture.
She really does make it sound like she has a high-level position in the government. Anyway, I want you to hear what she's saying again. We were convinced that we were African. In fact, one of these folks in the chat who was spouting something that Dane Calloway said, let me go back and get the name of the ridiculous person, actually said that we started calling ourselves, it's D-knee. In 1986, they just started calling people African American. What? Where did you get that from? Maybe you're very young. sa.neter and I were here in 1986. So I want you to understand that there was a movement to use the term African American, but people used the term Afro-American before. And they certainly use the term African. This is very, very common. By the way, here are some of the Europeans that they continue to say convinced us that we actually were people that were African in 1986. By the way, both of them were long dead by 1986. So that argument doesn't even make any sense. You're going to hear them mention Franz Boas and Melville Herskovitz. They both were dead by 1986. But all of a sudden, sometime in 1986, we were confused. I want you to know that there are lots of records about the people who were enslaved, about the people who lived on the continent, and about the Black folks that were brought here and came here in a variety of different ways. Lots of records. You should know that in the very beginning of this conversation, in 1515, you even see a Catholic friar named Bartolomé de las Casas. He actually describes the fact that Native American people in the Caribbean are being treated very poorly by the Spanish. They're being murdered, they're being raped, and he suggests that the Spanish should actually enslave Africans instead because they have no souls. Right off the bat, even though he is a regrettable person, he makes a distinction between the African and the Native American. You're going to continue to see that. How about in enslavement, we see ads for the sale of Africans? How about Richard Allen actually establishing the African Methodist Episcopal Church in the 1700s? Obviously, they were calling themselves African. So how in the world could you say that we didn't know we were African when we were called Africans by others and we called ourselves African? How can that make sense? How about here? This is in David Walker's appeal from 1829. By the way, son who said that you don't know what a source, that I didn't show you a source, here's another source. This is in David Walker's appeal, right? 1829. Article 2 says, there are some of the productions of ignorance. These are some of the productions of ignorance, which he will see practiced among my dear brethren, who are held in unjust slavery and wretchedness by avaricious and unmerciful tyrants, to whom and their hellish deeds I would suffer my life to be taken before I would submit. In other words, he would rather die than submit to the subjugation of the European. And when my curious observer comes to take notice of those who are said to be free, which assertion I deny, and who are making some frivolous pretensions to common sense, he will see that branch of ignorance among the slaves, assuming a more cunning and deceitful tone of procedure. He may see some of my brethren in league with tyrants, selling their own brethren into hell upon earth, not dissimilar to the exhibitions in Africa, but in a more secret, servile, abject manner. He's talking about speaking ill of those people on the continent who are selling their brethren into enslavement. Clearly, he's saying that not only did we come from Africa, but he is also, this is a powerful comment against those Africans who were involved in the enslavement trade. This is 1829, not 1929. Y'all say in 1986 we said we were African. This is 1829. Let's continue. How about Drusilla Dungy Houston? Drusilla Dungy Houston, by the way, this is another source. Please look at her work The Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. This is a sister who was a historian in 1901, very, very early. And she self-publishes a book on these ancient Africans who gave the world civilization. This is what she says on page 2. Our story will deal with the ancient Kushite empire of Ethiopians that covered 3 continents and held unbroken sway for 3,000 years. We will visit old Ethiopia, where, as Herodotus said, the gods delighted to banquet with the pious inhabitants. Page 7. In most modern books, there seems to be a preconcerted understanding to calumniate and discuss the world with abominable pictures of the ruined Ethiopian, ruined by the African slave trade. By the way, not only is she calling us Ethiopians who actually come from the Kushite Empire, but now she's saying that those Ethiopians have been ruined by the slave trade for 400 years. There seems to be a worldwide conspiracy in literature to conceal the facts that this book unfolds. Because of this suppression of truth, world crimes have been easily made possible against the Ethiopian. Please understand that this woman in 1901 is describing the fact that we are people of African descent. By the way, A. Rogers said Black Americans have mixed ancestry. We aren't only African, but only native, but both. Not everybody very few people have native ancestry when you do the DNA, by the way. Very few Africans have native ancestry. Don't make me play that video. I may have to. We also have 20 to 30% European DNA. It is true that many people of African descent in the United States have European DNA. But I'm going to say to you, I do not consider European DNA part of the lineage that I respect, because I recognize that much of that DNA has come into my blood because of the rape of African women. So I'm not going to stand here and say, hey, I got 20 or 30% European DNA. Your great-great-great-grandmother is rolling in her grave when you celebrate that. So you are correct that there is 20 to 30% European DNA, but do you recognize it based on how it got into your blood? Or do you view yourself as an African? How do you view yourself? Let's continue. Okay, you'll also notice, here's another source for those of you who don't know what a source looks like. This is from Edward Wilmot Blyden. And this book is called Liberia's Offering, Being Addresses, Sermons, etc., 1862. This is 1862, by the way. 1862. He said, this is on page 1. The prospect of Africa's future civilization and of her taking rank among the advanced countries of the world thus vindicated the oneness of the origin from the first Adam, and the interest of the second Adam may well stimulate all of her children to the boldest efforts. He's trying to say to us, if we recognize what we've done in the past, we'll be able to do amazing things in the future. Edward Wilmot Blyden writes many other books, including West Africa Before Europe, which was published in 1901 and edited in 1903, long before that foolish comment that you continue to make because you've been listening to that charlatan and that liar and that fraud, Dane Calloway. He's the one that started that ridiculous comment. Africans have called themselves Africans and recognized their African heritage since before we were on an enslavement ship. By the way, all 3 of the people I gave you are African Americans. All 3. I've given you something from 1862, something from 1850, I think it's 1852, and also something from 1901. Do you understand that you're giving, these are sources by Black people, not by Europeans. This is the writing of Black people. Understand that this is what we're talking about. When you hear them say that we don't view ourselves as Africans, tell them to read. Tell them to read and stop talking about African booty scratchers. What's wrong with you? Have some shame for your ignorance. Don't come on here and flaunt your ignorance and your self-denial. Don't do that. Stop it. Let's continue. Now, this author writes about the African before the United States is the United States. Sa.neter, this is before the United States is the United States. The Declaration of Independence is written in 1776. If you want to say that that is the origin of the United States. But Phyllis Wheatley writes her book of poems in 1773. By the way, the person who publishes her book is actually the European who owns her. He notices her advanced intelligence and he starts publishing her work. We believe that she is left to work so that while he legally owns her, she is an author. Listen to what he says about her. He says, Phyllis was brought from Africa to America in the year 1761, between 7 and 8 years of age. And what does she say about herself? What does she say about herself? She says, the happier Terence all the choir inspired. Who was Terence? She's referring to Terence Affer. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Terence Affer, do the research. He lives during the Roman Empire, and he is an extremely accomplished scholar. Terence Affer. And so she begins to say, I am looking at these established people of African descent, and even though I'm enslaved, I see myself in them. Listen to what she says. The happier Terence all the choir inspired, his soul replenished, and his bosom furred. But say, ye muses, why this partial grace to one alone of Afrique's sable race? From age to age transmitting thus his name, with the first glory in the rolls of fame. Do you understand? She's even describing his skin. She says that he is one alone of Afrique's sable race. She's saying he's a black man and he's an African, and she's proud of what he does. And why is it we don't recognize that this is our lineage? That is what she's saying. That's what she's saying. This is Phyllis Wheatley. By the way, Phyllis Wheatley, you might have heard of in school. You might not have read her work. You might not have read her work, but recognize that this is a book written in 1773. Look at the etching of her, by the way. Look at the etching of her. Let's go. Now, I want to also address something that we continually see with the Aboriginals. They have a problem with basic research. It sounds okay until you just lightly scratch the surface and everything they're saying falls apart. Everything. I hope that you are still there, Chief Morning Thunder. Listen to what you said and watch me unravel it easily, because you didn't even do basic research. Watch.
Point this out. This is Chief Powhatan. He is the chief of supposedly Pocahontas in Virginia. And this, as you can see, is what we call today a Negro, a Naga. When I say Naga, I mean the N-word. That's Chief Powhatan of Virginia. And on the right is the emblem of America. We were empowered before these people came here. We are the ones that they saw when they came here. And me being chief and knowing this and learning this in this community amongst my tribal brothers and my brothers in the YouTube channel, We need to get our brothers that have been indoctrinated. They've been told that they were African by the society. Our parents never told us that we came home over here on slave ships. And we got to help our brothers that have been indoctrinated to believe that they're Africans. This government has so much paperwork on our people that lead us to these lands.
Folks, it unfortunately takes time to unravel some of this. Because right off the bat, I looked at this and she said, this is Chief Powhatan. Here's a simple question. Well, first of all, if you're not asking questions, you look at this, it looks like it's a Native American, and he looks like he has African features, right? Right? But wouldn't you just ask a simple question? Is that Chief Powhatan? Is that an image of Chief Powhatan? Now, I'm going to tell you, this has been going around the internet. Here's a website called Aboriginality. And they sell shirts and the like. And they even have, the brother that puts together this has a t-shirt that has the same image on it. Do you see that? And he's standing at Powhatan Street like, I'm Powhatan. So this is not, she heard this from someone and she did not research it. Why not? Do you just assume that what they're writing makes sense? That's not scholarship. And if you think you're going to bring that into a debate with anyone in the HOK, they're going to swat this like Manute Bol going after a 5-footer trying to make a shot. That's what's going to happen. You can't do that. You didn't check it?
Yeah, I was just on the phone with Shaka. He said, tell Jabari, save something for me. Shaka, funny, right?
Shaka, if I knew you were going to go into, I might have actually saved a little for you. Because this is, I mean, Shaka, this is crazy, brother. This is crazy, brother. So, guess who else says that this image is also Chief Powhatan? sa.neter.
Who? Hey, hold up, man. Because, see, Rob don't know what he's talking about. Where Rob at? Rob said,
Who?
Hold up, I'm going to get it. Damn, where that damn comment? It went up so damn fast. Oh, here you go. He said, HOK scared of Dane Calloway. No, you wrong, brother. You know how long we've been calling Dane Calloway out? I've been calling Dane. I even offered to give him $3,000, yo, to come in. And that offer still stands, that I will give him 3 bands and blows up and just go
in some of his stuff. It's found its way into her mouth. We have videos of her asking him questions and she's just listening to him talk. He's the problem. She's the one that's been misled. So, boy, if I had Dane Calloway on the stage, I would tear him up. Rip him to shreds. The only problem with me ripping him to shreds is that I would have to have another arm pushing Rob Warren and Shaka. They'd be like, I want to get some. I'd be like, no, son. Because let's be clear, they can rip him to shreds too. This is light work. The 3 of us together are far above his ilk. That's why he keeps running. But he has a very large community of people who are regurgitating this ridiculousness. So, look at this brother from the Aboriginality Facebook page, proudly wearing his shirt, saying this is Powhatan. Now, clearly you notice he's standing under Powhatan Street, so he's trying to say the person on his shirt is Powhatan. Here's the question I must ask you. Is that Powhatan? Or did you hear someone say it and you're mouthing it? And what I was saying to you, sa.neter, is guess who else says this ridiculousness? This is the Choctaw Society of Ha-Messiah. a dissertation on the history and future of the true Hebrew people. Now, you knew that they were going to be saying this foolishness too, right? So this is a paper you can find online called The Other Side of History. And in his pictures you see here, look at the pictures. Look at the pictures. I want you to look at this. Do you see the picture all the way in the corner here, sa.neter? Let me blow it up so you can see it.
I see it.
Pocahontas' father, Chief Powhatan statue. By the way, the grammar on this is terrible. At Virginia Historical Society, if he was living today, what would he be classified as? Is this Chief Powhatan? He's correct about where it is. Is this Chief Powhatan? Well, sa.neter, I called the Virginia Historical Society.
Oh, man, you a bad man, Jabari. Damn. And that's why they Callaway scared of us, man.
They didn't even know what I was referring to. And they said, look at our website. Is what they're talking about? I want to show you what's on their website. This is the website for the Virginia Museum of History and Culture. They have a page on racial inequality, 1877 to 1924. You can see that is a picture of Booker T. Washington on the front. When you scroll down, that's the image. What does the place that owned it say it is? Can you read that? A cigar store figure with African American facial features and Native American dress. Where did you get this was Chief Powhatan? Y'all are embarrassing yourself. This is a cigar store figure.
Hold up. So you saying it's not real? It's just it's not real, Jabari?
It's a statue, but it's a statue that would stand outside of a tobacco shop.
Right, that they made up. It's the statue they made up?
Yes.
Oh, man. Yo.
Yes, sa.neter.
God damn.
Yes, sa.neter. You know what? Just for good measure, because I know she's in here, listen to the sister say who it is. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for her. Listen.
This is crazy.
This is Chief Powhatan.
Is it?
Chief Punty?
Powhatan.
Oh.
Go back. What did she say?
Point this out. This is Chief Powhatan.
No, it is not.
Do you know where you at? This is the toughest environment to be in.
Why are you playing yourself like that?
Oh, goddamn. Jabari, this is why we say this is the Floyd Mayweather right here. He ain't gonna just sit back. He gonna go and dig up what you talking about. Go ahead, Jabari.
By the way, you should know that many cigar stores, some of you are younger and you may not remember this. Many cigar stores used to have cigar, they used to call them cigar store Indians. They don't do it anymore because it was racist. And it used to be out front of many stores in the United States. This was common. So what you are looking at is one of these statues that they had in front of a cigar store. You told us where it was. You told us where it was. So now you should be embarrassed. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say that you should be embarrassed for what you just did. Because what you are showing, here goes one of them in front of a cigar store.
Oh, that's crazy.
They don't even have them out there anymore. There was one that used to be in New York. You know?
Yo, you right, bro. You right, Jabari.
Yes.
Now I'm starting to remember. You right.
Yes. sa.neter, you and I are now men of a certain age. So I want you to understand that this is what happened many years ago, and they're no longer there because the world said that's racist.
Right.
Here's the same one I just showed you. Here's a better picture. The University Cigar Emporium. Why? Because the Indians smoke peace pipes, and so we have our statues in front of cigar stores. The one that you're looking at happens to be someone that looks black, but it is not a picture of a real person. It's a novelty, a racist novelty.
Damn, man.
That's what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense on why they will put it in front of their store. Now I'm saying, because of the peace pipe.
And I'm telling you, the place where they know it is, listen, this Hebrew knows where it is. I did some research. It took a little while. This is where it is. This is the statue. This is the statue. Cigar store figure with African-American facial features and Native American dress. Around 1880 to 1890. That's when this is from. Let's continue. By the way, she also says this is the emblem of America. And yeah, this picture is someone that looks dark. What does that mean? So they're dark. This means that this is us? Do you know, I would love for her, because I know she didn't do any research. I know she did. By the way, that was a source. For those of you who said that wasn't a source, I showed you where it was on a website. That is what we call a source. For y'all. She said, this is the emblem of America, and there's a dark colored person. But does she know where this image is from? Did you do even a little bit of research, Sister Bethy? This is where it is. It's in the British Museum. It's in the British Museum. By the way, I don't think that they had a lot of access to people of Native American heritage. But anyway, you have to understand that this is simply a picture in the British Museum. So they are saying, you know what? These people are darker than us. So, by the way, they also had emblem of Africa. Why didn't you use that one? Why didn't you use that one? And this one, emblem of Africa. All of these are, by the way, I've seen these pictures, sa.neter, myself with my own eyes. With my own eyes, as I went to go to the British Museum. So I want you to look at that's how I knew that what she was saying was ridiculous. These are all prints that are in the British Museum. So what are we saying? Simply because you see an image of a darker skinned native person, supposedly, an image, something that someone drew, that means that we are the drawing? Is that the scholarship you're going to die on? The hill you're going to die on? Is that what you're doing? By the way, Aboriginals will often use mixed lineage to negate African heritage. There are people who had both Native American heritage and African heritage. I'm not discounting that occurred. By the way, it's much smaller than we think. I'll show you the genealogist that gives you the percentage. I have actually shown it on your channel before. It's a video that I took myself in the room while she was doing her presentation. Listen to what she says here.
I want you to understand this. This is Rodney Butler, okay? His family, and he tells you this story, ran up out of here, and they were put in the British West Indies Islands. They actually were put over in Barbados, okay? These are the people that are running Foxwoods. These are the treasurer. These are members. Do they look African? Look at this. They don't look like you. Baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't think that these people, this sister don't look like me. No.
sa.neter, I'm going to say something to you that might be surprising, and it's going to definitely be surprising to Sister Bethany. If you had done some research on Michelle Scott, you would know that she lived in New York. I know Michelle Scott. And I'm willing to.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's about.
Say that again.
I am sure she is willing to speak to this audience about her ancestry. But you know what, sa.neter? We don't even have to do that. Just read the website that she showed you. Here is the screenshot from the same website that she just showed you. The same website. When you go down to Sister Michelle Scott, what does it say about her? What does it say about her? She is a member of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Council. She is. That's a fact. But what does she say about her background? She is a proud citizen of the Mashantucket Western Pequot Tribal Nation and is equally proud of her Eastern Pequot, Narragansett, Shinnecock, and what, sa.neter? Black ancestry. If being Native American and Black was the same thing, why would they write that she also has what? Black ancestry. She is someone that is that also has Native American lineage. Michelle Scott will happily come and tell you about that. Why don't you look to see? Why don't you do some information just to look at her? By the way, you should know that she got her degree in political science at Columbia University, which is right up the hill from here, sa.neter, and that's why I know her. That's why I know her. I mean, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Do you want her to come and tell you you're crazy after you used her name and said she's not a person of African ancestry? Is that what you want? Because she'll do it. She's not going to do it happily because she's not going to want to beat up on this sister. I know her. I know her. But when you do something this ridiculous and you don't even read the same website that you're referring to, why? This is easy. Once again, if Black ancestry was Native American ancestry, why does she list them both? You have to understand this. This is your source. You are being eviscerated by your source again. And you know what else? Oh, you know what I should have done? Let me go back and play a little bit more of what she says.
Yo, this is, see, look, real quick, Jabari.
Yeah.
I just want to say, you know who you are out there. Be careful who you ask for. Be careful. Be careful.
Please don't think that if you think you're going to come and sit with me, and you know what else? It's not just me. Shaka would do this. Rob Warren would do this. They're going to know you before you sit down. And they're going to catch you on the stuff that's ridiculous. Like Sister Bethy saying you have 3 master's degrees. You said that was like the 20th word out your mouth was already what according to you, it's untrue. You don't want to put up the LinkedIn page. I didn't do that. Don't make me call the schools to see if you got those degrees. I won't do that. That's too far. Because you already said that you're not telling the truth. I want you to hear what she says about the person. She says that they're a
Peace, real quick to the people. For those of y'all who support my Patreon, I want y'all to take note that I threw up 45 videos that you no longer see on my YouTube channel and some new videos. They are all on Patreon. So I got over like damn near 1,000 on my Patreon now. So my Patreon is getting loaded, as you see. From sa.neter Studios to HOK, all the classic debates, everything is on my Patreon page for just $5, or some of them might be $10 a month. I will do the $10 a month thing so you can see everything, including the new stuff that I do when I'm outside. Peace. The link is in the chat if you want to support. The link to my Patreon is in the chat. Make sure y'all subscribe, support your brother. Peace.
Mulatto. Why do the Aboriginals always cling to the words that everyone agrees are racist and use them for themselves in ignorance? I want you to continue to hear a little bit more of her conversation with this brother.
Go back up to where you showed it. Go back up.
But you have to remember they're mixed. We're looking at mulattoes here. Some mulattoes. Some are mulattoes.
That look like you?
this
That look like you?
I accept him as my brother because he's mulatto. He is mulatto.
Oh wow! But you don't accept Africans as your brothers?
From this landmass here in the Americas, North America, this is my brother.
Notice her non-answer. The brother asked very simply, and he was willing to give her something. You see that person that's supposed to be a Native American, a First Nations person, as your brother, but you don't see the African as your brother? Notice she didn't answer the question. Embarrassing. Embarrassing, Sister Bethy. Embarrassing. And why do they always grab the word that people have thrown away? Look at this. Mulatto is not a word that people use anymore. Why? Because it comes from the word mule. When Europeans would think about people who actually were the offspring primarily of enslavers who had raped the women that they owned, they would call them mulattoes. Why a mule? Because a mule is the offspring of a horse and a donkey, and it cannot give birth. It can't have its own children, by the way. It's sterile. It's born sterile. There's something wrong with a mule. And so they use the term for people who were African and the offspring of those women that they raped. Why would you now use that word? Do you read anything? Here's the article in the Atlantic. Mulatto is not a cool word. I'm not going to even read anymore because I think that most of you are already aware of it. By the way, didn't you hear that the rapper who came to light with their name Mulatto had to change her name to Lotto? Because she got a lot of backlash. They were like, why are you using a racist name for yourself? She's Lotto now. Are you not aware of this? You don't have to be a scholar to know that this is something that is problematic. Just read a little bit. A little bit. This is recent. 2021, she changed her name. Come on. Stop embarrassing yourselves. Just like they have clung to the word Aboriginal and to the word Indian. Look at this one. Do you know that they used to they still call themselves Indian? She called herself an Indian. And, you know, there used to be a team from Cleveland, Ohio, a baseball team that called themselves the Cleveland Indians. After years of protest by First Nation peoples and others, they changed their name to the Cleveland Guardians because of the Guardian statue, which is on the Hope Memorial Bridge. Look at this article. It's from 2022 in the Akron Beacon Journal. Perhaps baseball's biggest surprise in 2022 was the young Cleveland Guardians team making the playoffs and winning the American League Central. It was indeed a season of note in the franchise's long history, as the youngest team in baseball won a division expected to be dominated by the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox in the spring. But it was always going to be a memorable season and one that the franchise would remember. In 2021, Cleveland decided to change its mascot and franchise name after decades of controversy. This year was the first year under the new name, the Guardians. They changed their name because of all of the protest. Why is the word Indian a problem? Because remember, it comes from the fact that when Christopher Columbus came to the quote-unquote New World, he thought he was in India. So he called those people Indians. Are you still naming yourself proudly with the mistakes of Christopher Columbus? A rapist, a pedophile, and a genocidaire? Is that what you're doing? Why must you always do the most regressive stuff and celebrate it? What's wrong with y'all in that community? What's wrong with y'all? Bizarre. sa.neter, you may remember this brother.
Gosh dang.
I had him in one of my other presentations.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm no African. Look at the shirts look at the hat that he's proudly wearing.
Yeah.
Of a disembodied Native American. This when he was wearing this, these outfits were absolutely controversial, and he's gonna wear it and put it on his son. What's wrong with y'all Aboriginals?
He don't know that that's disrespectful. That's what they was doing. The baseball league and all that.
You're only taking the stuff that people throw away. What's wrong with you? And this is the article. This is just from Britannica, and it explains where the term Indian comes from. The word Indian came to be used because Christopher Columbus repeatedly expressed the mistaken belief that he had reached the shores of South Asia. Convinced he was correct, Columbus fostered the use of the term Indios, originally persons from the Indus Valley, to refer to the people of the so-called New World. Really? You're going to continue to name yourself out after Christopher Columbus is a racist, pedophile, genocidaire. You're going to continue to name yourself after his error, after the native people, the First Nations people, have been trying to discard it for decades. Really?
All right. Hey, Jabari, I need a moment of silence from you for 1 second.
Yes.
Black people, you got to get your shit together. Yes, you do. You got to get your shit together. Yes, you do. You got to get your shit together.
The words of our brother, General Sarah Seti, man. Go ahead, Jabari.
Problem, sa.neter. I mean, I don't get it. And then look at this site. This is from Creative Spirits. And they say, what is the correct term for Aboriginal people? Using the correct term for First Nations people shows respect, shows that you care, combats racism, and might open doors. But which term is correct and how can you avoid mistakes? They talk about why you should use the term First Nations. This is not easy. This is not hard to find. It's not hard to find. So you should just know that that term is antiquated. It is an old racist term that they have intended to use for themselves. Aboriginal is old and should be discarded, and Indian is old and should be discarded, and mulatto is old and has already been discarded, but they find it in their mouths. Why? What's wrong with y'all? By the way, she also says that there is no transatlantic enslavement trade. Listen to this.
In terms of slavery, do you believe that we came over here, and when I say we, I'm talking about us today, who is known as the African American, came over here on slave ships? Or you saying no, that never happened, or you don't agree with that narrative?
Absolutely not, brother.
Go ahead, talk about it.
The 1619 Project was not our people. And I'm going to show you, dating in the 1500s, 1600s, that we had an operating system here. And we were the people of this land. The 1619 Project consisted of foreigners, white Slavs, coming over from other white European countries. Now, when Plymouth Rock land, everybody thinks that it was Christopher Columbus, a couple of white guys that landed on Plymouth Rock, but those were Black people that came from Europe, England, because we ruled as a people. We ruled. Our people ruled throughout the world, and it just flipped. Everybody thinks that the people, when the Pilgrims claimed that they were white people, because that's what they taught us in school. They were actually Black, and today you would call them Black Europeans.
So, who were the people on the slave ship? Who were they from the transatlantic slave trade?
They were from Germany, England, the European countries.
So you're saying these are Europeans on the slave ship, on the transatlantic?
They were white slaves.
Look at Senator's face. Look at Senator's face.
They were kicked out of England Absolutely.
And you have all your sources. No, she's not going to source anything yet because she's getting ready to get into a powerful debate. So I don't want the sister to reveal all her sources. I'm just doing a nice interview with the sister. And you do have sources for this, am I correct?
I do.
Okay. And so she will be showing that when it's time to get into the debate. I'm looking for next month.
Jabari, you do know I don't want them to run away, right? I'm just, I don't want to run them off. You know what I'm saying? I want to be humble and let them tell their story.
You wanted me to do this, right? I told you.
Yeah, no, I want you to go in because they've been calling me and saying they want my best. They've been calling me, bro. That's why I called you. They've been calling me.
This is crazy. This is crazy. And let me say to you, sa.neter, that she says a bunch of things that are bizarre. First of all, she says that Columbus came to Plymouth Rock. Christopher Columbus never set foot in what we would call the modern United States. Never. And he arrived in the Caribbean in 1492. Don't you remember the little poems that you used to say in school? The folks who landed on Plymouth Rock, well, near Plymouth Rock, were actually called generally the Pilgrims, and they got there in 1620. We're talking about something that occurred 150 years later. How did you conflate those things? You have no understanding of the history. You have no understanding of the history. How did you do that? How did you get it so confused? And then she says it was actually Europeans that were enslaved, and it was Africans that came from Europe, Black Europeans that came from Europe to the United States. I'm going to say something here, family. You've heard me say it before, and you should be saying it now when someone says something ridiculous. Just write écrit. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. These are the most extraordinary claims that anyone has ever made. You have no evidence of it whatsoever. And it better be a lot of evidence because it's a really extraordinary claim. That's where we are. Confusion. There are lots of there's lots of data. She didn't say English was an ancient language. Did she really?
Yeah, I think she did say that, Jabari. Yes, she did.
Okay. There are lots of records of the people who were enslaved. Here goes an ad in 1763 for the sale of Africans from the Gold Coast. By the way, the Gold Coast is what they called modern day Ghana. So these Africans were coming from Ghana. On Thursday, last arrived from the coast of Africa. They're telling you where they came from. The Brig Royal Charlotte with a parcel of extreme fine, healthy, well-limbed, gold-clothed slaves. Men, women, boys, and girls. Gentlemen in town and country have now an opportunity to furnish themselves with such as will fit them. Will suit them, sorry. Those that want are desired to apply very speedily, or they will lose the advantage of supplying themselves that are to be feen on board vessel at Taylor's Wharf. So they're telling you where to go. This is an article in a newspaper from Newport, Virginia, June 6, 1763. By the way, this is another source. So we have lots of things that tell us where these Africans come from. We have bills of sale. We have enslavement ships. Yes, we do have ships. One of the ridiculous things they say is, where are the ships? We do have ships. There are records of revolts aboard enslavement ships. We have oral histories of Africans. We have DNA evidence. We have enslavement dungeons in West Africa. We have African names given to places inhabited by enslaved Africans. They named those places, Congo Square and other places. We have maroon settlements where people are writing that they're Africans. And we also have insurance policies that describe that these are Africans being insured. There are many, many, many sources. This is just some of them. This is just some of them. They say the most ridiculous things. Here go a few more of the ads. This one, the one on top is from 1787. By the way, you can see this on microfiche. And the other one is 1792, right? And you'll see here an exchange at the Exchange Coffee House this present Saturday. The ad, the 2nd of June at 1 o'clock precisely. The ship Juba, brethren, about 120 tons, now lying in mud dock, sails remarkably safe, and is calculated for the African trade. By the way, they're not selling people here; they're selling a ship, the ship Juba, and they're saying it's fitted for the African trade. Isn't that interesting? The one on the bottom is also for the sale of a ship. This is for the sale of ships. This ship is called Catherine, and they say if you go further down, it is burthen 180 tons per register, a prime sailor fit for the African or South Sea trade. They're telling you what they do with these ships. So it's not just descriptions of the people, it's descriptions of what they do with the ships that carry them.
Shout out to Domo. That's a good one, man. When YouTube doctrines meet a real scholar. Good one, brother. Good one.
Now, let me say this. Wow, Domo. Thank you, Domo. Let me say this, sa.neter. You see this picture? You've seen it before. Anyone know what this picture is? Sa.neter, do you recognize the picture? You should. You're muted, Sa. You've seen it. You've seen this before. What is it? Do you remember? I got this picture from the Department of Buildings of New York City. The house
is that in Harlem?
Yes, it is in Harlem.
I was going to say it's in Harlem, man.
But where is it?
It looked like your block.
Yes, this house right here is my house.
Yeah, I was getting my point right there. Yeah,
by the Osazes.
Yeah, that's your block. But say that again. What you was pointing at again?
This is not just our block. This is our house. This one right here.
Oh, the one with the gate on it.
Right here with the door right here. This one.
Yeah, I see it.
And in fact, you should know this is our block and lot number. New York City has block and lot numbers. 1937-24. That's our block and lot number. And
yeah, I'm looking at it like now at this time there's no projects over across the street.
No. Those don't come until like the 1950s. Yeah. And this is from the picture is from the WPA, right? So 1930s is when this picture was taken. When the city actually got people who were actually out of work during the Great Depression. They paid people to do work. And one of the things that they did is they actually took pictures of every building that existed in New York City, including the building that I am now sitting in. Do you see this window right here? This one right here. That's the window right there.
Yeah, I see it.
Now I want you to know, here's the point I want to make. When you look in front of the house, what do you see here?
Automobile.
That's a really old car, right?
Yeah, that looked like a big one too.
Well, sa.neter, if this is from the 1930s, not from the 1860s, not from the 1790s, why is it this is from the 1930s? Why don't we see those cars all over the place now?
Good point.
This is the point I want to make about enslavement ships. Why should you expect that they just be laying around? You have to look for them. You're not going to see those cars laying around, and that's more recent than the enslavement ships. The reality is when that car breaks down, usually what people do is they break it down for its component parts. That's what they do. So if you're not going to see those cars from less than 100 years ago, why should you expect there to be enslavement ships everywhere? You have to look for them. And
damn, your building's still there, bro.
Yes, it is. The Atlanta, by the way, I know who lived here at the time, by the way. It's fascinating. You said, well, show us one. There's the car, right? Who said, well, show? The Atlantean said, well, show us one. Now, if you look hard, you'll find these old-timey cars, but they're not easy to find, right? You asked for me to show you one, Atlantean. I'll show you more than one. There's several of them. Here goes one that was found that they've been searching for in Florida. Frontier, Florida's. This article is from August 17th. Another source, by the way, sa.neter. Some people don't know what sources are.
See, they don't know who they messing with, man. Go ahead,
August 17th, 2015, right? Updated on the same day a little bit later. The slave ship Guerrero was lost off the coast of South Florida on December 19th, 1827, with 561 Africans aboard. Underwater archaeologists believe that the ship has been found. The Diving with a Purpose underwater archaeology program began in conjunction with the National Park Service and the National Association of Black Scuba Divers. It is Black people who found it because they wanted to find the ships. Black divers found it. Let's continue. To have African Americans participate in the search for the slave ship Guerrero. The effort was filmed for the PBS documentary Changing Seas in the episode Sunken Stories. The program, so you could actually go watch the documentary. There's one ship, the slave ship Guerrero.
Damn.
Here's another. Here's the Henrietta Marie. This one was found in 1993. It wrecked off the coast of Florida in 1700 en route to England. The Henrietta Marie, what they found is they found the mast that describes, look at this. These are Black divers, by the way, that found the mast for the ship. It wrecked. The Henrietta Marie. When they say, name a ship, say, how about the Guerrero and the Henrietta Marie? And I'm not even finished yet. This is Black divers that found it. We did this. Let's continue. How about this one?
The Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture will display objects from a slave ship that sank off the coast of Cape Town in 1794. The artifacts were retrieved this year from the wreck site of a Portuguese slave ship that sank on its way to Brazil while carrying more than 400 enslaved Africans from Mozambique. Objects recovered from the ship, called the São José Paquete de Africa, include iron ballasts used to weight the ship down and copper fastenings that held the structure of the ship together. Ronnie G. Bunch III, the director of the African American History Museum, said in a statement that the ship represents one of the earliest attempts to bring East Africans into the transatlantic slave trade. The National Museum of African American History and Culture is currently under construction in Washington and scheduled to be completed in the fall.
So not only is there another ship, but the ship was called...
The ship was called what?
The San Jose Paquete de Africa. So they're telling you it was used for the enslavement trade for Africa. That's the name of the ship.
Damn.
By the way, we also have records of enslavement revolts.
Where's that good ship Jesus at?
The good ship Jesus has probably been broken down.
Okay.
Remember,
okay. That'd be the good one. We can find the good one.
When the ship is done, they break it down for its parts, just like when you go to the junkyard.
Right.
Parts for its parts. That's what they do. You shouldn't expect to see them just sitting around. You have to look for them. But they're there. Okay. How about the death of Captain Ferrer, the captain of the Amistad? You've heard of the You've heard of the Amistad. Didn't they tell you who were the people, where they came from, what they did, how they took over the ship? This is an article here that describes the death of Captain Ferrer on the captain of the Amistad in July 1839. It says, Don Jose Ruiz and Don Pedro Montes of the island of Cuba having purchased 53 slaves at Havana, recently imported from where, sa.neter? Recently imported from where, sa.neter? Recently imported from where, sa.neter? Africa. Put them on board of the Amistad, Captain Ferrer, in order to transport them to Principe, another port on the island of Cuba. After being out from Havana about 4 days, the African captives on board, in order to obtain their freedom and return to Africa, armed themselves with cane knives and rose upon the captain and crew of the vessel. Captain Ferrer and the cook of the vessel were killed. 2 of the crew escaped. Ruiz and Montez were made prisoners. We have the records of the revolts of Africans. Where are the Black Europeans? They're telling you where they're from. They tell you where they're from. We have the words of those Africans explaining what happened to them.
And you know what's going to be the saddest thing about this, Jabari? Even though you're showing them where they can go and look it up and do their own research, they still going to be in denial, brother. That's the saddest thing when it comes to this information. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody want to be wrong.
Yeah.
And so they will fight you tooth and nail just to say, no, that ain't true. Even though you're showing it to them, and they can go and do the research themselves and copy, paste it, go and research, go look it up, and you'll see it.
I'm going to tell you something else.
Go and see it.
I used to work at the Schomburg Library, and we were putting together a program called the Junior Scholars Program. By the way, that's the program that I worked with Chadwick Boseman in. It was interesting that we were putting together the program and we were trying to find money, and all of a sudden New York Life, the insurance company, came forward with $1 million. And I remember sitting at the table, and the Black folks around the table said, ooh, they must have been doing something bad. We didn't even ask them for $1 million. What did they do that they're trying to give us money before it becomes public? The next year it became public. They had insured ships, enslavement ships, and they wanted to get ahead of it by saying they do good work in the Black community. There's a lot of this history. There's a lot of this history. So I want you to know that if you look for it, you'll find it's not hard to find. Let's continue. How about these folks? I talked to you about DNA, right? You see Gina Page and Rick Kittles here from African Ancestry.
Right.
They're the ones that do DNA work. So they look at the DNA of people here, and they're able to connect that DNA to people over there. I heard our sister say that she doesn't do DNA because once they get your name, they can automatically say, this is a Black person. I'm going to just say they Black. And I want you to know, I might even show it tonight. I've shown it before, sa.neter. I'll just show you my my ancestry.com page. I actually got ancestry.com. I like ancestry.com for 2 reasons. First of all, they don't sell any of your data. And second of all, they also connect you with literally hundreds, if not thousands of people who you're related to. So when I did, Kittles was proven to be a fraud. I'd love for you to show a source. And I would also love for you to speak to Kittles, because Rick Kittles has spoken to sa.neter. So when has he been proven to be a fraud? Why would you say something like that without any sources? ECRI, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. By the way, fraud is a legal definition. If he had been proven to be a fraud, guess what would have happened to his business? Stop. Stop. So you have to understand that one of the things that occurred is that they were able to look at, well, I'm talking about Ancestry. I got distracted. When I put mine in, guess what I saw? Guess what I saw? I saw my first cousin. I didn't know that she put it in. She didn't know I put it in. We don't have the same last name. In fact, my name was Jabari Osaze when I put it in. They could trace me to Corwin Jacobs, but her name is not Jacobs either.
But that's the first thing I seen too, Jabari. My first cousin. Yeah. And none of us knew that. He didn't know I put mine in, you know? I called him. I said, yo, man, I didn't know you did the DNA.
Yes.
And he said, yeah, and he seen mine and right there.
And by the way, you should know that the person I'm mentioning was my cousin on my father's side. Well, 3 weeks ago, I got another hit. And it didn't even have the name of the person. I recognized the picture. The name says the Hunter Girls. Hunter is a very common name. And I know that it told me these are your second cousin. This is your second cousin. One person. Because one person put in the DNA and they said we have the same mother and father, so my results are your results. That's what they did. It didn't even have their name. I just simply recognized it. And I reached out to my cousin and said, hey, man, you did Ancestry. I did Ancestry. And then we said, hey, we gotta have a cookout this summer. That's what happened.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what happened. I want you to understand that this is what happens. Those cousins, I'm showing you my business now, folks. Somebody's going to try to use it against me. That's fine. Because, you know, I'm ready for you. It shows you matches from parent 1, which is my father, and matches from parent 2, which is my mother. Look at this, folks. Look at these folks. These are all people who are related to me. I didn't know that. How did I know? How did I know that? Let me see if I can show you the Hunter Girls too. I'm trying to find you the Hunter sisters. Oh, here's my first cousin. Look, Maria Ricardo. Her last name is Ricardo. I know her. I called her and said, hey, I didn't know you did Ancestry. By the way, I did not know Andre Clark. Didn't know him. We have connected. Didn't know him. Anyway, what's my point? My point is, if DNA didn't work, why are they able to find my family that I didn't know that they did Ancestry and they didn't know I did Ancestry? We don't have the same name. There's no name that we share.
And Jabari, I always say the same thing. How did they know who I would be and my father? How would they know all of that if it's not real? I don't know, man. It's just crazy, man.
They might say that they just put any names, right? That's what they might say. But that's not the case. By the way, Lost Confederacy, who really should be Lost Cognitive Process, actually says, dang, you didn't show any Africans. Everyone on the screen was an African friend, including me. So please don't be confused. There are over 300 people there that I'm related to, and others that I knew. Okay. By the way, what about the enslavement dungeons? This is Elmina enslavement dungeon in 1482. These are still there. We know what they were used for. There's records for what they were used for. We have names of people who left there. What, the enslavement didn't happen? So what are these buildings for? We have records for what they were used for. And here goes the wasting cell. Do you see the one with the skull and crossbones here, sa.neter? They would take the most rebellious African and stick them in the shell and not give them any food or water, and there was barely any air in there, and they would die. That's what they did. Here goes Congo Square. By the way, there are several Congo squares. I want you to understand that when Black folks found place to gather, they started naming spaces close to them. This is the one in New Orleans. There's one in Philadelphia called Congo Square. When Black people started meeting there, they started giving it the name of places they were familiar with. Why didn't they name it, I don't know, London Square? And also, you should know that there's the place where the last enslavement ship, the Barracoon, no, Barracoon's the name of the that is the name of the ship, isn't it? I'm having a senior moment. But you should know that the last enslavement ship to come to the United States was wrecked. It ran aground, and the enslaver, who knew he was going to get in trouble because he wasn't supposed to be bringing people in, tried to burn it. They found it, and the place where all those people went to, it is called Africa Town. Look at on Netflix has a great documentary series about them and them trying to maintain their heritage. These are the folks that came off the ships. How about the fact that Richard Allen, who I mentioned earlier, started first the Free African Society in Philadelphia, and then started the African Methodist Episcopal Church, also in Philadelphia, in 1787. And their church, which is still there, that I have toured, by the way, well, the third building they have is still there, is called Mother Bethel, and it was established in 1794. I have been there. I have toured there. It is also believed that they had some spaces to hide enslaved Africans. This is 1787, 1794. Folks, we knew who we were. How about the enslavement revolt that occurred in Mexico? Did you know that there was a major enslavement revolt in Mexico, in the place near Veracruz, led by an African by the name of El Yanga, sometimes called Gaspar Yanga? And he actually led this revolt in 1631. It was a successful revolt. They created their own city, and eventually the Spanish had to sign a treaty with them. That city is still there. This statue for El Yanga is there today. That's an independent African society. So anyway, listen, I just want to say that's too much for her. It's too much for her. I really want you to hear that it is problematic when we mislead ourselves about our origin. It's highly problematic. If we don't know who we are, if we don't know who our kith and kin are, how do we operate in this global world? And if you are giving away Africa, the most opulent landmass on the planet, the landmass with all of the resources in the world, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Not just natural resources. How about the cultural resources of Africa? The place where the oldest humans came from. The long history. The fact that Africans were the first mathematicians, the first astronomers, the first architects, the first engineers, the first writers of great literature, the first scholars, the first doctors and nurses. Yes, it's called the Clotilda. I had a senior moment. Dwa Victor Wilson. It's called the Clotilda. Yes. And the book Barracoon was written by Zora Neale Hurston, and it's about the Clotilda. That's the name of the ship. Yes, thank you. I was going to play the video, but I just decided it was too long. I want you to know that this is one of those things where we have to get to the point where we are telling our people the truth about our history. It's a glorious history. Does it have pain in it? Of course it does. But look at what we've done with the pain. Look at how we've destroyed our chains. And look at how we are now the most influential people in the world. We have to be proud of our African heritage and also the story of the African in the New World. We should be proud of both of them. Let's stop talking about African booty scratchers. Why would you do that, sis? Why would you do that? sa.neter simply asked you, how do you know that you're an Aboriginal, a Native Indian? And your response was the term African. Your grandmother said you weren't an African because you were crying when you were watching Roots. And also the term African was connected to African booty scratcher, and it was an insult. That was your explanation. I didn't say that. You said that. Anyway, I hope that we come to a better understanding so we can do the work that our ancestors have dictated that we must do. With that, let me say dua to you, sa.neter, Shemen Ma'at, go forth in divine balance. And if there's anyone that wants to briefly, I'm not going to stay on here forever, that anyone that wants to talk about this, let's do it. Let's do it.
Black people, you gotta get your shit together. Yes, you do. You gotta get your shit together. Yes, you do. You gotta get your shit together.
All right, family, brother Jabari. Great job as usual, brother. I mean, I don't even know how anybody could dispute what you put up. Everything you showed, you brought the references, you showed it. So we're gonna see if we're gonna get a couple of people to come in, ask questions, and see what they could come with. Brother, you got to turn on your camera if you want to ask a question. There ain't no hide and seat up here, brother. Peace to you, brother. How you, man? Oh man, this dude keep cutting his camera off.
You know.
Peace, brother.
Hey, peace. I ain't got no problem with keeping it. I thought.
How are you?
I'm good. Hey,
Right.
Jabari, great job. Thank you for finally, answering that call. But here's another thing. You being the scholar that you are and concerned with the education of our people, TikTok. I know we get stuck over here in this YouTube world.
Oh, he froze.
You froze up on us, brother.
I know what he's saying.
You froze up on us, brother.
He's saying that so many of those people who are misleading our people are on another platform, and we have to get over there too, is what you're saying, right, brother?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I lost connection. But yeah, the demographics over there, 11-year-olds all the way up to 30, 35, and of course, older older people are over there as well. But when I tell you that it is something very, very dangerous that's going on, we have to keep on doing what we're doing. And I don't feel sorry for them because they don't want to listen to the truth. As you can see, everybody in the chat that believes the way that they believe have no clue. They don't believe anything that you just said. They don't believe anything you just said, man. So, I just want to check in, tell you thank you for coming up finally. Hey, the champ is here. Peace and blessings.
Can I say something, brother? We are living what I call the sportsification of information. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Mets fan, and if you know anything about baseball, I'm also a Knicks fan, by the way.
Detroit Tigers.
Now listen, if you know what I'm talking about. Those things break your heart, but I'm still a Mets fan.
Right.
Information and knowledge should not be that way. If you get new information, you should get to the point where you have new ideas. Don't rock with a team because they're a team. There's information. Look at the scholarship. But that's where we're at right now, and it's really problematic.
Well, here's one more point just to that. Mm-hmm. When you talk about scholarship, I like to ask this one question.
Yeah.
Name me one Aboriginal historian, somebody who looks like you. Name me one that has written any types of books, that has made any types of noise as far as information is concerned, that is supporting their claim. They can't name one.
The only person who has written a book that I'm aware of, and there are probably others, is Dane Calloway.
Calloway.
I've seen sections of it. It is terrible. I gotta use a YouTube for it.
Okay, I do have one more for you. One book called 103 Amazing Facts About Black Indians, written by a Moor named Kenyon. I read that book the other day, bro, and I was absolutely disgusted.
It's not
actually.
worth the ink that's printed with it.
It's not, but they try to use that as a go-to as well, man. So
what you end up having to do is that once you read 2 pages, you're like, none of this makes any sense. It easily unravels once you crack just the surface, and that's
well, absolutely.
All
But
right.
again, peace and blessings. Thank you, Sa.
Peace,
Keep it
brother.
up, man.
Bye, brother.
Peace.
Look who's here.
Oh.
You on the call, Sister Bethy?
First of all, let me say this first, sa.neter. I didn't know that you was gonna have this young man come up and try to tarnish my name.
Yo, hold up. Stop, Bethy.
No, I didn't. You didn't call me. You called me to debate other people, but you didn't call me for him.
Guess what?
Secondly,
Stop for 1 minute. No, let me.
No, I want.
I gotta do this for you first, sister. You gotta hear me out. Jabari, did I knew you was gonna do this presentation with this sister? I didn't even know. I knew he was coming on to take care of some Aborigines, but when he put you on, I didn't know. I didn't know. I was like this.
Uh-oh.
That's what I was. I didn't know, sister. See, so come on now.
Okay, so let's do this. First of all, young man, you do not know me. The history you looked up on me is old state news. I haven't touched the state linkage site since prior to COVID. That's old. Let me tell you something about me, and then you can look it up. First of all, we're going to start here. I do have 3 master's degrees, and as a scholar and a university professor, you know you can call the college and get that information, okay? So let's put that there. Secondly, I am a state government employee, and I have been for 37 years. I am an executive assistant. Do you know what my role is? And one thing about me, brother, I never hid my state employment in YouTube. I was always open about who I work for as far as a state government employee. I'm an executive assistant. Do you know what that role is? Do you?
Why don't you tell us?
Do you know the role of? Can you take that off, son? That is serious. It's ridiculous. Please, out of respect. The role of an executive assistant. If my boss, who is appointed, gets fired for some kind of scandalous business, the governor needs somebody to run that agency until he appoints somebody else. My role is to keep the unit going with paperwork processing and make sure that it moves. So you don't know me. So you lied on me about my history and you try to defame me in front of these people in the audience. Now, secondly, you British Jamaican boy who ran.
British Jamaican.
The British. You Jamaican.
I'm Jamaican.
Your ass is Jamaican.
I'm not Jamaican.
Yes, you are. You're
not
Jamaican. And your ass ran out of here with the British. That's what you did, sucker. And then you're going to turn around. And
All right. Hey, hold up, sister. Let's not name call. Be professional.
He defamed me.
No, he didn't defame you. He showed scholarship. All you got to do is prove him wrong. No, hit me out, Bethy. All you got to do is show proof where he's wrong with your information. Show us where he's wrong with your scholarship.
My degrees are all on the wall. You know that you can call university.
Show it to us.
Show it to us.
I want to see 3 master's degrees. Oh, please don't hurt yourself. I didn't think she was going to climb on the couch. Now, I want you to be clear. We're about to see 3 master's degrees, right? Because she's the one that said what degree she had. I showed her her LinkedIn page. So let's see. Let's see the 3 master's degrees. Senator, you might need to put it on the screen by herself so we can see the 3 master's degrees.
Let's start off with all my accomplishments.
No, I want to see your 3 master's degrees. That's what I
get ready to show them to you right now.
Okay, go ahead. I don't need to see all your accomplishments.
Why you don't want to see all my accomplishments? What, are you jealous?
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, I'm going to show them whether you want to see them or not.
Please do. I want to see them. Let's see it.
You're going to see all of them. And take that down, sa.neter. I don't like it.
It's up there so we can see it.
I want to look this Negro in the face when I'm talking.
Oh, now
that's how I roll. You're Jamaican. First of all, I'm a certified grant writer.
Oh my goodness, that's a certificate of achievement.
That's right. You damn right. With the state, you need to be certified. You need to be certified. Where in my state, those are certificates from the State Department of Administrative Services. Something you don't know.
Oh,
I can write any fucking grant ever.
Oh,
ever.
No.
This is my bachelor's degree. I'm starting with all of them.
Let's
from
see.
the University of Hartford. My bachelor's
in science. That is not a bachelor's degree.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. No, I pulled the wrong one. I pulled the wrong one. I pulled the wrong one. Wait, don't get too happy, nigga. Don't get too happy.
Wow.
There's the bachelor's, bitch.
Come on, let's see.
Yo,
There's the bachelor.
Sister, chill. Come on, no
bachelor's.
No cursing, chill.
I'm not finished. I'm keep going.
Let's see
That's
the name.
bachelor.
Okay, there we go. That's a bachelor's degree.
Here is my master's.
Let's see it.
And I'm going to show you the second one.
How come we can't see the wait? Pull it back so we can see it.
Can you see this?
Wait, let's see. Wait.
University.
That's the Masters of Social Work. Good. That's one master's degree.
Is that not a master? I ain't finished, nigga.
You said you had 3. Let's see it.
I'm gonna show it to you, bitch.
Listen, let me be clear.
Nah, sis. Come on, nah. You ain't letting me do all that. I'm not letting you do that, sis.
Out of my name.
Sis, I gotta kick you off.
Call me out of your.
You can't do that. You call him out of his name. No, I'm not gonna let you do that.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And you know, sa.neter, I want to say this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me say this to her. I was really polite because guess what else you can see from state employees?
What's that?
Salaries. I didn't put your salary on the screen, sis. I could have. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. You run a department? Are you sure? Y'all look it up. So listen, I never said she didn't have a master's degree. I said she didn't have 3. She probably didn't have 3 master's degrees because on her LinkedIn page, she shows us 1 master's degree. That's what it says. Do I need to play her video where she says she has 3 again? Do I need to, sa.neter? Should I?
No, nah.
She
No.
said that she has 3 master's degrees. She she started with a certificate of achievement.
Brother Jabari, this is the brother that is going to face off with you. He's here. He go by the name of Chief Biko. He is one of the brothers with Chief Alligator, who is a heavyweight top contender. And I don't want you debating him now, but this is the brother right here, Chief Biko. What's up, bro?
What's going on, sa.neter? What's going on, panel?
We got brother Jabari in the building.
I'm worried already because it seems like Chief Biko is the lost Confederacy. You said some things that were problematic in the chat. So let's see if you're going to be able to
yes, sir. It was one thing that you had brought up in regards to, you said something like extraordinary claims cause or need extraordinary proof. Is that correct?
Claims require extraordinary
evidence. I like that.
Right.
sa.neter, I'm not sure if you remember or if you've seen the video when we was on here last time, basically proving that there was no Civil War. sa.neter, I'm not sure if you've seen anybody or if anybody has still brought up a document from Congress where they have declared a war. And to add on to that, can you provide a lawful document where Congress has defined, let's say, Negro, colored, Black, or African American?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, but I need you to answer that.
Wait, listen. Did Congress actually approve the Revolutionary War?
Did Congress approve the Revolutionary War? Before the Revolutionary War, there was no United States.
Oh, so when you go to a civil war, what was the Civil War?
It was a rebellion. So why are you calling it a civil war?
From who?
Well, hold on. Why are you calling it a civil war if Congress never declared it a war? That's the trick question, my brother.
Clear. You have to be very clear. No. Simply because Congress says that there's not a war, that doesn't mean that a war was not fought with over 200 people killed, 200,000 people killed. Do you think that you should recognize very clear? Wait, brother, you have to stop speaking now.
I'm gonna mute my mic.
You asked me a question. The Civil War was a war where several states left the Union. That is what the Civil War was. It's called the Confederacy. And they created their own nation. If you believe that the United States government must actually say that there is a war for people to be fighting, then I want you to show me where the Congress has approved every war that has occurred.
I'm glad that you said that.
Go ahead. With the most recent one.
Go ahead.
Show me the approval for the war in Afghanistan.
There was none, and that's exactly my point.
Was there
hold on. That's my exact point.
Was there in fact a war in Afghanistan?
So why do they call it a war if Congress never declared it as such?
Brother.
And that's the point. But hold on, I'm gonna let you build.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you: are you familiar with Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution?
I am, and I can pull it up for you.
Excellent. Does it not say that no citizen or no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation? So how can a European be a confederate or a part of a confederacy?
European? What do you mean a European?
Yes, a European, a U.S. citizen. Because that's what
is a European?
Absolutely. So let me ask you, because confederacies they predate the United States government, right?
No, wait. You got the dates confused. We're talking about the Civil War versus the Revolutionary War. One occurred from 1861 to 1865. Right?
Looking it up, I can see.
What? What did you say?
Are you looking it up? It looked like you're looking up.
I'm not looking up. I'm looking at the screen.
Oh, go ahead. Continue.
What, I teach history, brother.
It seemed like you're not teaching the right history if you having your students call something a war that was never declared, brother. It's a rebellion.
I don't know why.
It's a rebellion.
I don't know why you think that a war is not a war. A war is when two sides go into a military conflict. So you could actually call, it doesn't really matter whether you call what we call the Civil War or not. The name of it is almost irrelevant. It's almost irrelevant. You're saying that because Congress did not issue an article saying that the war should occur, that it did not occur? So where is the one for Afghanistan?
Listen.
Are you saying that, wait a minute, are you saying that the United States did not have a war in Afghanistan?
It's flying over your head what I'm saying and what I'm getting.
No, it's not. What you're saying
it is. Because I'm not saying people didn't fight. What I said is Congress never declared a war. You're misconstruing. You're blending the two, my brother. So stay with me. Stay with me, teach. Stay with me, professor.
Go ahead. Let's hear your.
If I say Congress never declared war, and if we go to Article 1, Section 8, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that as well. It says that within the powers of Congress, Congress has the power to declare war, right?
It sure does.
And they also had the power to make rules concerning the capture of land and water, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if Congress never declared war, then all of this land, because would you agree that there was a so-called Seminole War as well, right?
Yes, there was. There was a Seminole War.
If Congress never declared a war on the original people of this land, yet they captured the land and the water, then what does that mean?
It means that the people who run the United States follow their own rules when they want to. That's what it means.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
You're confused about that.
I'm not confused. I'm glad you said that. Though.
You are confused about that because
let me just show you where I'm going from there.
Wait a minute. You're arguing. You started this. Let's not get into a word salad so people get confused.
No, not
you
at all.
Started this by saying that there was no civil war because Congress did not approve of it. That's what you started by. And then I asked you, was there a war in Afghanistan? And if there was a war in Afghanistan, show me where Congress approved it. And you said, well, they didn't approve it. So then I guess you're saying that there was no war in Afghanistan.
Brother, it's still not sticking. And I know it's not sticking for a lot of people in the chat.
What I'm saying is you're not making any sense.
Brother, hold on. See, Biko, do you understand what he's saying? Was there a war in Afghanistan? Yes or no?
It was not a declared war. They were fighting. People were killing. So y'all got to understand, if I'm telling you Congress has to declare war, yet our troops are being sent over there to fight something, that's not a war. Congress has only declared 11 wars. Do you understand that? And who have they declared them with? Most of them been Europeans. So when you said that this government does not abide by their own rules when it pertains to especially the original American, the Aboriginal, the indigenous, and other melanated people, we could say Afghanistan, Iraq, Korea, those were called wars, right? Yet Congress never declared them. That's the point. And when I bring up Seminole War, if Congress never declared a Seminole War, yet they captured all the land as well as water from the Seminoles, what does that mean? All of this shit was ours, was captured unlawfully. We're under military occupation. I mean, I don't understand what else I can say in regards to that, brother. You can't dispute that. Congress never declared a civil war, and the Civil War masked the Seminole War because a European, which is AKA United States citizen, cannot be a part of a confederation.
Okay. Let me say that what you did is you proved that it's raining outside, and then you said, therefore, Jabari has salami in his refrigerator. Those two things are not connected whatsoever. Simply because Congress did not declare war, that doesn't mean that Africans were then in control, or Africans, Black people. Let me just say that so we're talking about the same thing. Black people were actually in control of this country. What do you? That makes no sense. This makes no sense. Those two things don't occur in the same universe.
Confederacies are an American form of government. Can we agree on that? Confederacies predate this United States government or anything else that was established. Okay, so if I'm saying, and if this system is showing you that no state can be a part of a confederation, what is that telling you? There was no Confederate states.
Wait. Say that part again. Say it again.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. So no states, meaning any of its citizens, any of its estates, can be a part of a confederation. Why? Because that's an American form of government. So when you say Confederate states, you're really disrespecting my ancestors, because that's an American form of government. So ain't no way in hell a European who you say rednecks flying rebel flags can be a part of a Confederate. They did the bait and switch just like you're doing with a lot of people saying that we're from Africa.
Let me ask you this. Can you show me the word? I'm going to play word games like you do and trip you up like you tried to trip me. Can you show me the word Confederacy in a American Indian language? Where's the word Confederacy?
You still ain't answered my question where you could prove the document or show the document where Congress declared a civil war.
No, what I'm saying to you was that it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I'm saying to you, in fact, hold on, listen. I'm saying to you, in fact, that it is irrelevant whether Congress declared a civil war because a war was fought. I'm saying it's irrelevant that whether they declared it or not. Because
so it's irrelevant if this government doesn't abide by its own policies and procedures.
There have been several times that the United States has gone to war and there has been no declaration of war, like in Afghanistan. And I don't, so you're saying that it was not a war. Folks, what is this brother? He's not saying anything.
I'm not saying people didn't fight and people didn't die, But everything when they go to war, they usually, you know, take control of a certain land, right?
Not
they get their
necessarily.
resources.
Not
I said they
necessarily.
usually. I didn't say necessarily. I said they usually.
What's the what?
So what I'm saying is, again, going back to jurisprudence, we talking about law now, lawful documents. What is the supreme law of the land, the treaty, and what comes up underneath that?
The
Whatever
supreme law of the land
Congress.
is not the treaty. The
Yes,
supreme
it
law of the land is the Constitution.
is. Oh my God! Let me bring up my document. I didn't expect you to fall into that.
The Constitution.
It's the treaty. Okay, let me show my.
Everyone that went to school knows that. If you know that the supreme law of the United States is the Constitution, hit a 4 in the chat.
Then it's going to be a lot of people that need to be educated. Let me show you something. Can I share my screen, sa.neter, when I get a chance?
Oh, wait a minute. Before you do that, I answered.
Jabari, that's up to you if you want him to share screen, man.
I answered his question. He did not answer mine.
Let him go ahead. Answer Jabari's question first.
Show me the word confederacy in a First Nations language, because you're saying that confederacies are not part of the United States. They're not. They didn't begin with the United States. Show me the word confederacy. Since you want to play semantics here, let's show it to me. By the way, I know
you never showed.
I know
you never showed that document.
Any of them. That's the ridiculousness here. But go ahead, show it to me.
Okay, perfect. Because yeah, you never answered my question. Those two
I answered
questions
all of
that
your
I asked.
questions.
You didn't answer the one either about the Negro black color being defined in law by this government. Yeah,
that's anything about Negro or blacks.
I did. I did.
No,
but it's cool. It's cool. We'll jump to that Constitution where it states that.
If you heard him ask me a question about Negroes or black people being defined in law, if you heard him do that, hit a 1.
Yeah, bro. You got to answer Jabari's question now, man. This is the toughest environment, brother. You got to answer questions, brother. Come on, man.
Therefore, Jabari has salami in his refrigerator.
Do you know where you at? This is the toughest environment to be in.
Those things do not fit together.
Do you know where you at? This is the toughest environment to be in. Do you know where you at? This is the toughest environment to be in.
You ain't letting me share my screen?
Jabari, is it all right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Now you're going to tell us what you're sharing, right?
You're not sharing nothing yet. I don't see nothing, brother.
Absolutely. I got you.
Don't give up too much, man, because you and Jabari might have to get in this ring and battle.
All right. Can you see my screen? Can everybody?
Can y'all see Apostle Belly? Apostle Belly is not like that no more. He lost his belly. He was bloated, man. He lost his belly, though, and that's a good thing. Healthy. He's working out. He still go to the gym, and he's a lot better. He trimmed down a hell of a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of pork up in that shit. But he fell back off of that swine and dying. So he's back.
I see it.
I got you. I see it. Your screen is
perfect.
up, brother.
Thank you.
No,
I'm gonna read this second paragraph. Can you hear me?
Brother, you're mirroring your screen. You have to show us what you're trying to show us. We're seeing
StreamYard.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Why is it not letting me pull up my whatchamacallit?
Open up what you want to share.
Got you. I got it open.
Click on it in the window when you hit share. Click on what you want to share inside of that box.
I got you. Let me go to Safari.
Do you know where you at? This ain't the minor leagues. This is the toughest environment to be in.
All right, can you see my screen?
No.
No. Yes, hold up.
Okay.
No, I don't see it.
Did I say Article 6?
No, I don't see your screen.
Now I want to play games.
We're not seeing your screen.
Your screen is not up, brother.
Okay, hold on. So I'm definitely sharing it.
While you're doing that, I want you to also tell me
if you want to come in, turn on your cameras. Turn on your cameras.
Tell me when the United States Congress approved the war, declared the war in Vietnam as well. Because I guess you're saying
look at your screen, brother. Your screen sharing.
And there was no war in Afghanistan. That's what he said.
Yes, but you're only showing us on your screen.
So hold on now.
Oh.
I'm only showing y'all.
Yeah. Click on what you want to share.
I'm clicking on it. It's right next to it. Can you see it?
No, you're only showing us. You can see yourself.
You have to show the whole screen, maybe. Although you're going to have a mirrored screen.
That's what I was doing before.
It's best to have two screens when you do this.
Believe me, I know that thing tripping. Hold on real quick. Let me do entire screen.
Do we know where you at? This ain't the minor leagues. This is the toughest environment to be in.
All right. Should be showing. If it ain't, I'm going to give you the link so you can pull it up.
All right. You're still showing us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. I'm going to drop it in the back chat.
You're doing it right. You just ain't clicking on what you want to share. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I can read it from my end. So we look at paragraph 2 of this article, okay? Because you just stated that Constitution is the supreme law of the land, correct?
It's right in the article that I knew you were going to do that.
Okay. So it says here, this Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land.
Brother, this sentence says
supreme law of the land. So what is the supreme law of the land?
Brother, you're getting confused by the punctuation. This is saying that the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, in other words, the laws made in pursuance of the constitutions, the treaties made of the constitutions, under authority of the United States, the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. You're getting confused by the punctuation. That is what Article 6 says, brother.
Brother.
You did not. Did you have civics?
It says shall be the supreme law of the land. Yes, brother. Treaties made, or which shall be made under these. Brother, are you not understanding grammar, brother?
Brother, you're misreading this. It's very simple. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof. What's the in pursuance thereof refer to?
Brother.
What does it refer to?
It says, and all treaties are made.
Answer the question, brother. Answer the question.
What does the in pursuance thereof refer to?
In pursuance thereof, any treaties.
No.
What are you talking about?
How can it say that when it hasn't mentioned treaties yet?
In pursuance thereof, and there's a semicolon.
Brother, no, brother. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Are you serious?
Brother, I don't even understand how you're missing this. Your the punctuation has you confused?
What are you saying that it's saying?
Constitution, listen, the Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, in pursuance of the Constitution, and all treaties made. This is in pursuance of the Constitution, or which shall be made in pursuance of the Constitution, under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. That's what this says. Look at the second part. It says, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution, the judges are even bound in every state by anything in the Constitution or the laws of any state, to the contrary notwithstanding. This is
contrary notwithstanding
is the supreme law of the land.
Brother.
I don't even understand. Oh, how old are you, brother? Did you take civics?
Brother, did you take civics?
Zaquan.
I'm showing you that the supreme law of the land is the treaty, bro.
That's not what it says. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Maybe your grammar's a little off there, Jabari. But it's saying all treaties made or which shall be made in pursuance of. Come on now.
United States.
Hold on, what'd you say?
Brother, what Jabari's saying is true.
Oh my.
That's goodness. The same thing about the Bible.
Oh my goodness.
When I was showing that the young golden sa did not sa.neter did not understand what he was reading when he read
All right. Let's not take it to that. Just deal with what we on right now, brother. Please, brother.
You gotta stay on task. Content, context, and intent.
Here goes Congress.com.
You got to understand, therefore, and but. These things are only thing which add to previous statements already said, conjoining a statement that you're about to read.
I don't even know how. I don't even know. I'm talking about conjunctions.
All right.
Let me say this. What you have to do is study that clause. Article 6 is called the Supremacy Clause. That's what it's called.
The Constitution is the supreme law of this land.
So that
it oversees state law, everything. The Constitution is the supreme law of this land. Individual states can make laws, but they got to be in pursuant to the Constitution of the United States. That is what they govern themselves by.
All right, Apostle. All right. I didn't bring you on yet to ask your question. So, brother, do you understand that? It's all right. No, hold on.
I got you.
It's all right if we make a mistake. That's how we learn. We are not perfect. We don't know everything. You are sitting before the Floyd Mayweather. He took the gloves off. He took the gloves off. I want you to know that.
Man.
And listen, hold on, Apostle. Everybody think it's easy until they have a seat into the toughest environment to be in. This is why Apostle ran. We had to send him back down to the minor leagues, to the majors. You know, we sent him back.
He's taking shots, but I would say that Apostle
African descent are citizens of the United States. Which can you tell me without typing? Which amendment to the Constitution gives Black people citizenship?
None. Where do you see black in Congress? Where has Congress stated black specifically? See, you getting convoluted like 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment gave the so-called Black, Negro, African American citizenship. That's not the case. If that's the case, brother, then why the hell would we have a 1964, 65, and 68 Civil Rights Act, which again never defined Black, Negro, colored, or African American?
All right, brother. I'm gonna have to move on to the next call, to the next question.
Answer that one, Jabari. And ask the students.
Looking forward to me calling you all.
I got you.
Might have to bring out Alligator for Jabari, your teacher.
Oh my God.
64, 65, and 68 Civil.
Anything. It was still fought. As was the Vietnam War. In fact, you might have known that Congress 3 weeks ago took back their declaration of war that was issued after 9/11. But the United States went into 2 countries, and people have been very upset about that. They're like, that is not what we asked you to do. So they took it back 3 weeks ago. So I'm just saying that I don't know why he thinks that he should tangle with someone who has a history degree, who teaches history.
All right, Apostle, before I bring you in, let me bring in Sister Latoya Ma'at, because you're going to be a little long-winded, I know. I'm going to have to try to get you out of here. You're going to be long-winded. Let me bring in Sister Latoya Ma'at. Peace, sister. How you doing, sis?
Peace, sister. How are you?
How are you doing? Good to see you all. Both, actually, all 3 of you all. Much respect to all of y'all. Sa, I'm telling you, today's show was so good. Like this is the stuff. This is what I really tune in for. Great presentation, all verifiable. You can look up the sources yourself. I'm starting to get worried. Like, HOK, I want, it's your channel, so you do what you want, but I want us to be unapologetically blackity black African, blackity black African. Like, we have to stop. One thing that came out in one of the bigger debates we had not too long ago with Shaka, he brought up this thing about, we needing to do a lot in our mental health. what just happened before, whoever this person, bless them, but it's like self-hate. Like, why don't we as a community, like, why won't we receive like the truth? You have somebody with a degree multiple times over, proven, been through the fire, like, if he's saying something and you still don't believe it, I don't know where we're gonna go as a community. I'm starting to get worried. And just because, and what is this thing where you can give yourself a title? So can I just put title in front of my name so I can call myself chief this, prophetess, ruler of the free world? Like, we gotta stop this stuff. So I really hope sometimes you start checking people and telling them, we will not be addressing you as chief until you can provide a source up. If you want to be a chief, who named you chief? Who are your Indians? Who's following you? Because I think when we give ourselves these titles, we elevate ourselves to places we shouldn't be in the community, and I think it's starting to get dangerous. But yeah, tonight was great. I just want us to love ourselves and be unapologetically African. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand why we deny ourselves who we are. Like, I hope we make it, but we can't have people who are self-proclaimed wizards of the grand loft. I don't know. It's getting out of control, bro.
Did you cut her off or what happened, Sa? You're muted, Sa.
Apostle is on you, brother. Let's get to Apostle.
You're muted.
Unmute yourself, Apostle. Stop being afraid to talk. Unmute yourself.
Bro,
look at this guy.
He got to do that because I just slapped shit out of him.
Brother, man, I mess with him.
He got to do that because I slapped shit out of him the other day. he feel bad. That's all. He just feel bad. It's okay. Jabari,
yes,
good presentation.
Thank you.
But I did think maybe a tad bit, you was just a little tad bit disrespectful.
Okay.
Just a tad bit.
Go
back and look at it.
Like where at? What part?
Did you tell me?
Well, when he first made a comment that she didn't have 3 master's degrees, I think he said that before he knew whether she had 3 or not. And you can challenge that, but you can easily look that up too. I'm just saying you didn't have to comment on that, but you did. Okay. I just challenged Black Jesus and his whole ministry bit with his bishop. I want to know who made him a bishop. So, but not that Indian before the cigar, that came in with the Indian cigar. You remember the Indian box? There's a brand, a cigar called the Indian. And back in the 50s, it was a very popular cigar.
I don't think that's, but I don't think that's where it started.
But that is where it started.
Okay.
That's exactly where that started. They used to have an owl because the White Owl cigars. You going into a cigar store and it would have a wooden owl sitting up in there. You know what I'm talking about? The owl, the bird. So
yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah, and that's because of the White Owl. That's a very popular cigar from back in the 50s.
So let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question. You said it started in the 50s, right?
Well, as I can remember, I was a kid in the 50s, in the 60s, and I remember the stores that sold cigars in Washington, D.C., and I remember certain things like that.
Let me ask, is it possible that they named the cigars after the fact that they already connected tobacco with Native Americans?
Sure. Okay. Possibly.
Because what I want you to do is I want you to see the 2 pictures that I showed.
I know. Those 2 pictures, I'm very familiar with those.
They're before the 1950s. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
so wait, listen. So it couldn't have started in the 1950s.
I said that very clearly. That's my recognition as a child.
Okay.
My recognition as a child.
Okay.
I said that very specifically.
Okay.
My frame of reference.
Okay.
So, but I do remember that one, and I do remember the other one. I do not remember ever seeing it betrayed.
Which other
in
one?
an article, the very first one.
Huh?
The very first one that they said was who that chief was.
Oh.
That particular nothing. I've never seen nothing looking African.
The one you first showed, Jabari, the other one.
Yeah, I've never seen no native looking African in no cigar shop. They always been the basic type, Mohican, Navajo type of display of what we see the Aborigines look like. Now, I'm saying this. I'm saying this just on her defense. Because, see, I don't see why it has to be a problem for a person who wants to claim, like my great-grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee. And I've got that information, not just from my mother, Ancestry says it.
Okay.
That she's a full-blood Cherokee.
That's possible. But
so now what I'm saying is, I don't see why that's a problem.
Okay,
why we can't be, because see, let me just finish saying what I'm saying, Jabari, and you can go ahead in there.
It's that you're saying a lot, so I'm trying to respond.
Well, I'm trying to get to my main point.
You have a main point?
Yeah. Yeah, because see, I showed you a little bit of I showed you that letter naming the ship that my family came over on, the Charlotte Cape. Who was the captain of that ship?
Apostle, try to get to the point, because I got a lot of people that want to speak.
By the time I get to Charles Anson Campbell, who was my 7th generation grandfather, that came across from Africa, that was born 2 days after the ship docked. There's 64 ancestors leading from him to me. 64 different people in that 7 generations. And I'm a part of all 64 people.
Yes, that's true.
That made me up.
That's true.
So therefore, yes, I do look, when I go to Ancestry, I did find my niece. That's how I found my father.
Right.
I found it through my niece.
Okay.
That's how I found a brother that I didn't know nothing about.
But let me, can I
listen? I got 5 sisters, 6 sisters, and a whole brother that I never knew anything about.
All right, hold up, Jabari, hold up. You also said this too, that you got this family too.
I'm telling y'all about these Portuguese, man. That's my family, man. Right?
I don't know if I would be
they
right.
were black Portuguese. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So you got
in your family
Portuguese.
too. You got them in your family too. Shit, what you saying?
Go ahead, Jabari, before I bring on the next one.
First of all, let me say this to you. When we see people, sa.neter, I need you to share the screen. When we see people who are coming before the sa.neter TV studios audience, what we should do is say, is this person someone who has done enough work to talk about what they have come to talk to me about? And if the second or third paragraph that you utter on sa.neter TV studios is one that is not correct, we should look at everything else you say skeptically. Now, listen, I don't know her. I wasn't in her school. I did not call the schools. I'm saying, and I don't know if you know what LinkedIn is, Apostle. I'm saying she said on sa.neter she had 3 master's degrees. Very clearly, 3 master's degrees. Please don't make me play the video. And then what she does is I go to her LinkedIn page. This is not something that someone creates for you. This is something you create for yourself. And she does say she has 1 master's degree. And here are the other degrees. By the way, when she said she had 3 master's degrees, she talked about these degrees and said they were master's degrees. It was the subject matter. They are not master's degrees, according to her, Apostle. That is important. Because if you are saying that you have some sort of verification that allows you to speak, by the way, none of these are in history, none of them, then we should ask, well, what's your qualifications? Now, let me also say, you said that you had never seen a black cigar store, quote unquote, Indian. And I know you haven't, because I am old enough to remember seeing them. And I never saw one either. It is quite unusual. But you're going to see that several people who are part of the Aboriginal community have keyed into this one. This comes from the Facebook page Aboriginality. This brother is wearing a shirt standing at Powhatan Street. The implication is that this is Powhatan on his shirt. And this is, by the way, Hebrew, saying that he's also that this is also Chief Powhatan. That's what he's saying here. But you should know that that is not Chief Powhatan. It is a cigar store figure. Is it unusual that it looks like a black person? Yes. But nothing in history designates this as Chief Powhatan. That's the reality. Now, let me say this final thing and then I'll end. You mentioned that you have someone in your family, in your lineage, that is Native American. I want you to hear me say this 87 cajillion times. There are some people who are of African descent who also have Native ancestry. Their families intermarried. I showed people on the screen, Apostle. I'm not saying that it is impossible for someone to have mixed parentage. I showed you at least 4 people in my presentation who do. But that is not what I'm contesting. I'm contesting the fact, and I want you to hear this clearly. I'm contesting the fact that the Aboriginal community says that we are not African, that we are in fact the native people of this country. And they also say other things that are ridiculous. There was no civil war. White people, the European was enslaved. I mean, the sorts of things that they say that are ridiculous are things that are ostensibly false, that are easily proven false. So I'm not contesting that you have a relative who is Cherokee. I don't know what percentage, or that's irrelevant.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying to you that there are people that have that ancestry. I'm not questioning it.
In fact, too, Creek.
So Apostle. So you saying you're Cherokee?
Oh, wait. Before
I said my mother's grandmother is a full-blooded Cherokee.
Before you ask that question, Apostle, do you hear the difference?
Right. Yeah. But see, now concerning me, Dulcinea sitting right there. If Dulcinea want to claim to be whatever, I really don't care. I'm not going to have an argument with a person about who they say they are.
Brother,
they can be whoever. Listen,
you better stop. Listen. You have told me I'm a Hebrew at least a dozen times. Stop.
I am a Hebrew.
No, I'm a Hebrew. At least a dozen times.
I'm not going to say you a Hebrew.
You said it to me already.
No, I'm not going to say you a Hebrew. I'm not going to say, I say you're not.
All right, Apostle, let me move on to Dulcinea.
You're not Egyptian, right there. I'll say that. You're not from Kemet.
All right, Apostle, let me go around. Let me go around.
I said my spiritual form is.
All right, y'all. I want to go around, Apostle.
Yeah.
You can stay there. Let me get Dulcinea. Hopefully, I can come back to you. Peace, Dulcinea. You got the floor.
Peace, Queen. You're muted, or we can't hear you. It doesn't say you're muted, though.
No, you're not muted.
What's going on with your audio?
Go out and come back in. I'll wait for you. I ain't going to let nobody go.
sa.neter, all I can say is that sometimes I feel like I'm arguing.
Let Apostle go before she come back. He got all the things right on his mind, man.
No, Apostle already went. What I'm saying is that we have a situation where sometimes I feel like I'm arguing something that I'm not arguing. And that's the part that frustrates me, because it's like they weren't really paying attention. I'm not arguing those things. You can have a Native American ancestor. I didn't say that you didn't. I showed you people on the screen that do. I'm saying that the claim that they're making is absolutely, ostensibly, purposely false. That's the point. So why would you come in here to argue with me when you agree with me? I mean, what is happening?
I didn't come in here to argue with you. Like I
Brother,
said, great
you started
presentation.
by saying there's a few things that I have to disagree with you on. That's what you said.
Yeah, because I didn't really get to those few things yet. Maybe sa.neter, maybe like
the things that you disagree with, I wrote down.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is the first thing I told you was great show. What I disagree with you
did say that.
Yeah, what I disagree was basically I didn't think you had to be. I can almost. Now she took it to the left.
You got to turn on your camera, man.
She took it way to the left, but I can understand why she was a little upset.
You got to show yourself, white brother.
My point I thought she would be upset with sa.neter because I think sa.neter should have let this happen after she showed everything.
Wait a minute. It's so funny that you're being so nice to the sister when I question her certification, and you questioned my certifications on different platforms all over the internet, and I never got upset with you.
Let me move forward. Why? Because she's taking a longer time. Let me go to Free Real. Free Real is in the building. Free Real is on you, brother.
My man.
Peace, brother.
Are you okay? All right, yeah. All right, we back. What's good with it, Sa? What's good? Peace. How you doing?
Brother.
Jabari, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, Sa, can you share my screen? I got straight sources again, just like last time.
Before you share a screen, can you tell us
what you gotta ask Jabari, brother?
Yeah,
is it cool if I share? So look, Jabari, I like to go through. Well, like, look, I'm not in disagreement. Let me state this before I share my screen.
Now you are Indian, so I know you are disagreeing, brother.
I am.
Right.
I am. But I want to clarify something. Okay. So Jabari, the so-called abos that you've been dealing with, bro, the contingency is they just want to be the Beyonce of the internet. They want to separate from Africa. All right. They want to separate from good Pan-African brothers. All right. They want to lie about the slave trade. They want to lie about owning white people and owning Europeans and all this. The abos are a danger to society. All right. They're not American Indians. And respectfully, they're secret Pan-Africans and they're Moors. Everything that the abos get, they learn from the Moors. The Moors are their teacher. People like even the white boy, respectfully, Dr. Longo of Old West Florida, he teaches them all their information. So when Aboriginal Power or A1 come up here, they're literally getting all the information from that white boy, all of it. All right. So they have a secret contingency, like I said, to come against what it is that we're trying to build. We want to see all melanated people come together and stop this BS. All right. That's what I want to see. And I am an American Indian. I do have some contingency with some of your point as far as the African descent, but I would like to take it from a law aspect, if that's okay with you. I just wanted to state that we do not deny the slave trade. Yes, sir. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. 1 second, so because like I said, the Aboriginals, I call them native Aboriginals, and they're a danger to society. They have poor reading comprehension, and they're terrible researchers, all of them.
So what's the difference between you and them?
Well, the difference between us and them is we base what we say off a record, and we don't run from DNA. They run from DNA. They like.
All right, hey, cannot you go next. DNA. I tried to wait for you.
That's the difference. The American Indian.
Can you hear me now?
All right, I hear you. We're gonna let the brother go. We go after him. Go ahead, bro.
So, Sa, to answer your question, Sa, the American Indian is all about restoring heritage and culture. All right, that's my thing. I don't care who came out, who was first. That's irrelevant to me. 20 generations, that's 1 million plus people. You're never going to do enough genealogy to find all that anyway. My point is, like I said, the contingency right here. So let me zoom in, because like I said, American Indians are all about, coming back together with bloodline and family. Whereas these dirty, respectfully, Aboriginals, they just want to hear bedtime stories and create false narratives and fallacies. And that's why we don't rock with them. Salute to my brother Choctaw Mac. This is where I got some of this information from. This is who I study with. So, African descent, persons of African nativity or of African descent within the meaning of the Naturalization Act as amended by the Act July 14, 1870, are members of the Negro races of Africa or their descents by intermixture with races constituting free white persons. The Negro races referred to being those from which the emancipated slaves in the United States descend. Now, the point of contention I have, that's why we put it together right here. Free white persons act.
Hold on 1 second. Before you do that, can you tell us what you're reading? What is that?
I'm giving you the lawful definition of African descent from the law, from the Constitution. Yes, sir.
You're going to see a definition for African descent in the law of the United States. What are you reading?
This from Black's Law. This is from 4th edition Black's Law Dictionary.
Okay, but what are you reading from 4th edition Black Law Dictionary?
Right here. Do you see it on the side? I'm looking. It's all highlighted for you. African descent to the left side, where my mouse is. Do you not see that?
I do, but I okay.
Do you understand what I'm getting at, Jabari?
I don't.
You don't understand what I'm pointing out? So let me read. All right, so let me read. So let me make it make sense. This right here should make it make sense. All these different races of people are connected by bloodline, and you're going to see it in a second. And they all wanted to come here from Europe and Africa as free white persons, as we're going to read in a second. I got the whole document.
In Africa, they wanted to come as free white people?
Say it again, sir.
You said all the people want to come from Europe?
No. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna say it real slow. I'm gonna say it real slow. I'm gonna say it real slow again. The names of these groups that I'm about to read, you're gonna see a lot of these are bloodline related and connected. And these groups of people from Europe and Northern Africa wanted to come here under what you can see right here in yellow, free white persons. And it's the Naturalization Act. So these two documents cross-reference each other. Does that make sense now? Can I read this?
I'd love to know why you're reading it. I'm trying to piece it together.
What I'm stating is the black people that were here prior to 1492, right? The black people that were here prior to 1492 helped to establish the Constitution, actually wrote the Constitution. I'm going to prove that in a second. Wrote the Constitution. And that's why these people, so hold on. Let me state it again. The black people that were here that were considered American Indians not only wrote the Constitution, but created the British and the French. Okay, because this is a business.
Let me let y'all know something right now. This brother no longer feels that way. He have left the Aboriginal community, the Native American community. He's been taught by the best, and now he knows that he is African. He dropped all of that foolishness. He's no longer in that community. See? So the brother got a hold of some real information, started doing his own research, and he left that nonsense, that garbage. He left that stupid stuff.
All right. We set up businesses here. We created what we know as the British and the French. It's not to take away, like I said, from the slave trade or anything, but this is information that a lot of people don't know. If you want me to pull that right now, since I made that statement, I can grab that because it's right here.
I really want to understand. Maybe you can give me the headline and then the information. Why are you reading this? What is the point you're making?
I was gonna read you the information, bro. Like, look, because I know, like.
So I want you to
So
try to
read
make the point and then prove the point.
I'm making my point. Like you're having a misconstruction. Let me just read, bro. So free white persons in the Naturalization Act. It includes all European Jews. Hold on, let me zoom in. There we go. It includes all European Jews more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps, Finns, Basques, and Albanians. It includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal, the mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races, nor the Indo-European or Dravidian. So these people that came here, white and black people, all came as a title of white. And that's why I wanted to read the African definition of Negro, of African descent, and how the Negroes are actually white and black people, respectfully, if you did or did not know that.
Here's the challenge that I have for you, brother.
Yes, sir.
The act that you're referring to was initially passed in 1790 and amended in 1870. 1870 is actually after the Civil War. 1870 is actually after the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments.
Yes.
There are literally hundreds of thousands of black people here already. And you're talking about how people become citizens after all of this has already occurred. So I'm not exactly sure what the point that you're trying to make is. And I want to give you, I don't want us to go on forever. What is the point?
My point is that Africans are related to the European directly, and that they came here together as free white people. So African descent, when you speak on African descent, you have to know it from the lawful definitions and the lawful history. Other than that, you're going to misconstrue the people, and you're going to create fallacies and misnomers. And as a scholar, if I know you're respected on this platform, it would, in my opinion, behoove you to get it from the lawful definitions, versus what was being displayed earlier. Now, I know the other brother came, and I agree with what you said.
Brother, why are you starting at 1870, though?
We can start before that. I mean, we can go back. So, look, put it like this. If this wasn't important, this is what I kind of wish the brother would have brought up. All right, because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you, I'm going to use this. I'll use h.con.res. All right, something that you may have not read before, where it's going to tell you that.
I'm going to ask you to only go for about 10 more seconds, brother, because I want you to get to the point.
Oh, well, look, this is what we're doing, bro. I'm coming back in a few weeks. Okay. I'll have a whole presentation set up, me and my bro, and we're going to smash the point.
Now, brother, it's possible that you don't have enough time right now to draw out your ideas.
Right. I may not.
But I think that
I may not.
But let me say to you, based on what you're saying, there's several glaring challenges. The reality is that the law that you're referring to was amended to add those sections in 1870. We're talking.
That's fine. That's not a problem. I can bring you all the documentation.
Brother, stop.
Go ahead.
The sections that you're reading are the amendments to the law, right? I don't know if you know that. No. They're the amendments that came in 1870, right? And so we're already talking about that naturalization law is in response to the 14th Amendment that grants, it is meant to grant the formerly enslaved citizenship. That's the part of the 14th Amendment that is meant to respond to.
That's fine.
Wait. There are already hundreds of thousands, in fact, millions of people that are here already. So you're trying to make it sound like that law should help us understand. Wait a minute.
I'm gonna mute up. Go ahead.
I let you speak for a while, and I tried to get it all. I'm trying to. You're trying to make it sound like this describes the people who came here, but the reality is, many, 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 many people were here already. So how could that law describe the people who came? And that law does not say that the European and the African are the same. It does not say that.
Yes, it does. It tells you the blood. It tells the bloodlines, and then it goes through the mixtures. I got the whole entire document to where you can read the whole entire document from top to bottom. It's not a problem, bro. Look, this is your bill. I'm gonna come back in a few weeks, and I'm gonna destroy everything that you said, family. Okay. All right. And at the end of the day, bro, I'm gonna have information prior to 1790, and I'm gonna beat the brakes off of all your talking points, Jabari. Because at the end of the day, I respect your scholarship, but I'm gonna beat the brakes off of you. I'm going to beat the brakes off of Top Cats. I'm going to beat the brakes off of all these aboriginals and these dirty Moors, respectfully, that be coming up here teaching the people wrong. I'm going to beat the brakes off of all your talking points. So just give me a few weeks. I'm going to beat the brakes off of Reggie and I'm just letting you know, bro. You were confused. You ran like a Kenyan track star. It's okay. You got great cardio.
All right, brother. You
got great cardio.
Thank you, brother.
All I'm going to say is this. If you think that you're going to defeat everything that I said in a 2-hour presentation that is meticulously sourced with one amendment to one law, then I'm
that you didn't understand at all. You don't have any understanding at all. I was going over your head.
Brother, you interrupted, man.
The state that you're in has legal marijuana. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Because you are really high.
Hey, I know you took the jab, Jabari. Hey, you can't spell Jabari without jab. All right, remember that. You can't spell Jabari without the jab. I know you took the jab, Jabari. I know you did. I know you did.
All right. Hold on.
You jabbed up, bro.
All right, Jabari, because I know you want to get out of here. Let me get Dulcinea back in here now. She's back. Dulcinea.
Hey, last thing. Hey, I love that Masonic checkerboard jacket that you got. It's a beautiful jacket, bro. I like that. Show me a Harlem where I can go get that at, man. I'm coming to Harlem in the shop. I'm coming to Lennox Ave. I'm coming real soon.
Let me just say that this is from Ghana. It is not Masonic at all, and I am not a Mason. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, there you go. Go ahead,
I'll be back. My name is Free Real Rap, Free Real Information, and salute to all my American Indians, and salute to all my real Pan-Africans.
All right, brother. All
right, sa.neter, please.
All right, come on, let's go.
All right, peace, everyone.
Peace, queen.
So, I think you did a really good job. I think there is a lot of information that is getting conflated, especially with the young brother that came on before. It was just a lot of mixture. But what I wanted to ask is, because I hear a lot of Yvonne Sertima is debunked and that Africans, as far as came before Columbus. So do we have like a definitive time frame, and not necessarily Pangea, of Africans coming over? And do we see any connections of the Indians or the Native American Mayans, Olmecs, the ancients, to African cultures?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm going to say to you that I do hear people say that Ivan Van Sertima has been debunked. I'm going to say to you, I do not believe that they have debunked Ivan Van Sertima. The idea that Africans made journeys to the United States prior to the European being here, it is a conjectural case, right? So we haven't found writing, right? So there's some things that we are not able to do, but there's a lot. It's a really interesting conjectural case because there's several pieces of it that seem to argue that it would have been possible. I don't even know if you know, just a few weeks ago, a ship was leaving Morocco. They made a wrong turn and they ended up in Cuba. That's just a few weeks ago. They didn't know what they were doing and they ended up in Cuba. They were like, oh, where are we? So the reality is that it is not necessarily difficult to end up in this place from the continent of Africa. I cannot tell you that I have definitive proof. I don't think anyone has definitive proof, but there are lots of pieces that seem to be interesting, including Christopher Columbus. Maybe there are pox on his name. Christopher Columbus writes in his first journal entries that he's returning for a second trip because the native people told him that there were black men that came before him with spears that were tipped with gold. That's what Christopher Columbus says. And he had already obviously had access to an interaction with Africans, and he wanted to find them. There are lots of conjectural things that seem to point to some journeys. But to say that Ivan Van Sertima is debunked, I think is a ridiculous case, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I never get a definitive of how he's debunked, but it's just a question I've always had, because you can see those cultural, when you're looking at the Native Americans and just certain things, the mask, I would say the dances, and their similarities to West Africa. So just asking up there.
Yeah,
But
I think that I believe that it is my belief that Africans journeyed here, but I do not have definitive proof. No one does. And so, you know, I think it's a good argument that scholars hopefully one day will be able to resolve. Yeah. Thank you. By the way, sa.neter is disappearing. You should know that he's been here for a long time. I don't even blame him. You should know that they're also, you know, we have the story of Abu Bakr II, who said that he was going to make the journey.
That just came together and formed a new.
Nasty.
One more thing I just want to say behind
Africans in American, who's by the way.
They said that. I don't know why they said that. The point is, if he was actually recognized as a native person, he would be subject to those laws. That's the point Reggie is making.
Apostle missing it, man.
That's the point he's making. And the legal system of the United States does not recognize him.
If I'm charged with murder, you mean I'm gonna have to go out there and find a lawyer that charged with murder before?
You're still missing the point.
No, I'm not missing no damn point.
So
I'm
what
gonna
is
hire
the
the best lawyer I can
could
find,
you share,
whether he's white,
could
whether
you
he's black.
Could you share
I don't care what it is.
Wait.
I'm gonna get the best lawyer that can represent me and keep my behind out of trouble.
Apostle,
I don't care what race he is.
Apostle, it's not about race. It's about the law. You're not
right. You missing the point. Damn.
Hey, I don't need an Indian to argue Indian law.
For a minute, Apostle, stop. Come on.
Can you share the screen for a second? Reggie didn't get to see this, I'm sure. This is the same point Reggie is trying to make. This article is from last week, New York Times, right? 2 black members of Native tribes were arrested. The law only sees one as Indian. That one of them is actually, that case is meant to be dealt with in the Cherokee Nation courts. The other one is left out on his own. So now he has to go through the courts of the United States. Now here's the deal. I don't agree with them leaving him out. According to the article, he is considered a freedman. He should actually be able to go after the Cherokee to recognize him. But the point is, Dane Calloway, who has made himself seem like he is the arch American Indian, is not seen as one in the law of the United States.
That's the point.
Of course not, he's not.
And wait a minute. Because if he was, he would have gotten attorneys that are part of the Indian legal system.
This is no.
Oh my damn God, man! You don't understand, Apostle.
This female is suing him for using her person.
Yes.
So he doesn't need an Indian lawyer to represent him about this particular case.
Listen to me.
Wait, Apostle, just wait, man.
You can understand this. Listen to what I'm saying. If he had standing in a Native American nation, the courts would have said this should be remedied in that nation. And he would have gotten a team that deals with the laws of that.
Jabari, I'm not arguing
He
that.
doesn't
I'm just
understand
arguing
jurisdiction.
this right.
He's making.
He doesn't understand
The point is,
jurisdiction.
he still has the right to
No,
hire whatever law firm he chooses.
No, you don't understand
He has that right.
Can you mute him? Why
That's
is he
all
still
I'm
on the
saying.
show?
Okay.
Why is he still on the show?
Yeah, sa.neter. Okay, let's just let him go. I Reggie made a point, and the point was not actually about race. That's not what he was trying to say. That's not what he was trying. What he said, I thought, was so clear. But Reggie,
giving an argument about race, I'm just saying he has the right
Can you
to
let him
hire
go?
what law firm he chooses.
No, you don't understand. Wait, let me just say this. So you don't understand jurisdiction. You don't understand diversity, right?
Jurisdiction.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
Why? You don't know law. Shut up.
This is not in the Bible, so you don't know, man. Just be quiet so you can learn something.
So if it was under Native American, get rid of him. So I can stop screaming. If it was under Native American jurisdiction, for example, if she filed in federal court and he's a Native American, they would decide jurisdiction.
Yes.
Thank you. Damn, man, how is that hard for him?
So what happens is that he.
Signs of low emotional.
All right, real quick, y'all. We're gonna play this quick game. Tell me who is this? It's 6 signs, right? Watch this.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist.
All right. Tell me who is this? Number 1. Let's go.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win. They can't handle being wrong, even when it's obvious. Their ego overrides reality and it ruins any chance of honest connection.
Who is that, y'all? Come on, put it in the chat. Let me see. It could be more than one person. It could be more than one. Uh-oh, Apostle got one. Apostle got one. Who is that? Uh-oh, Apostle got 2. Yeah, I hope Apostle watching, man. Who is that? It's not only Apostle, but a lot of people, man. Listen.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win. They can't handle being wrong, even when it's obvious. Their ego overrides reality and it ruins any chance of honest connection. Number 2, they can't take feedback. Even gentle criticism feels like a full-on attack. Instead of reflecting, they get defensive, shut down, or blame you for being too sensitive. Feedback rattles their entire self.
Woo! Don't these people do that all the time? They say, yo, you getting sensitive. You sensitive. Man, he calling it a therapist. He calling it a licensed therapist. Let's go all the way through.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win. They can't handle being wrong, even when it's obvious. Their ego overrides reality and it ruins any chance of honest connection. Number 2, they can't take feedback. Even gentle criticism feels like a full-on attack. Instead of reflecting, they get defensive, shut down, or blame you for being too sensitive. Feedback rattles their entire self-image. Number 3, they're highly reactive. They don't pause, they explode. Low EQ means they act on impulse. Whatever they feel, they say or do immediately.
I would say that's me. Number 3 is me. I would say 3 is me. I'll cop to that. I will cop to that. I will cop to number 3.
Entire self-image. Number 3, they're highly reactive. They don't pause, they explode. Low EQ means they act on impulse. Whatever they feel, they say or do immediately. It's not passion, it's poor self-control. And it creates tension wherever they go. Number 4, they don't apologize, or it's insincere. They rush through it, avoid accountability, or say, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's performative. A real apology means owning the damage that was caused, not just trying to end the conversation. Number 5, they constantly cross boundaries. They say something hurtful, joke at your expense, or invade your space, and then act surprised when you're upset. Instead of owning the impact, they blame you for overreacting. Emotional intelligence means knowing where the line is and actually respecting it. Number 6, they make every conversation about them. You share something vulnerable and somehow it becomes their story. They interrupt, compare, or shift the focus back to themselves. They're not actually listening, they're waiting for their turn to talk.
All right, I take that back. None of those are sa.neter. None of those are sa.neter. None of them. But they are the Hebrew Israelites. They are the Indians. They are the religious people. That's who that is. They are all, Brother Lyle said Nepal. Oh, man. Oh, JJ, hell yeah. JJ, hell yeah. Oh man. Judah Naz, and definitely Apostle. Definitely Apostle. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I'm gonna keep that in the vault when they start doing that. They don't never want to be wrong. They always got to be right.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win.
That's Apostle. That's Apostle. He's never wrong. Israelites beat everybody. And also Keon. That's Keon as well. The Israelites always win every debate. They got to be right on everything. Everything. That's Apostle. That's Keon. Judah Naz, JJ, all of them.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win. They can't handle being wrong, even when it's obvious. Their ego overrides reality.
Even when it's obvious, even when you're showing the slides, even when you're showing your proof and your sources, they can't take a L. It's crazy.
And it ruins any chance of honest connection.
Right.
Number 2, they can't take feedback. Even gentle criticism feels like a full-on attack. Instead of reflecting, they get defensive, shut down, or blame you for being too sensitive. Feedback rattles their entire self-image. Number 3, they're highly reactive. They don't pause, they explode. Low EQ means they act on impulse. Whatever they feel, they say or do immediately. It's not passion, it's poor self-control. And it creates tension wherever they go. Number 4, they don't apologize, or it's insincere. They rush through it, avoid accountability, or say, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's performative. A real apology means,
oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. We got to throw Unc up in there, Moses. Oh, hell yeah. We got to throw Unc up in there, man. Number one is for Unc too. Number 1 is damn sure for Unc too.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win.
Cosmon Kyle, he fits number 1. Unc, JJ, Judah, Apostle. They all fit number 1. All the Hebrews, all the Indians, that's number 1 for all of y'all, man.
6 signs of low emotional intelligence from a licensed therapist. Number 1, they need to be right. In every conversation, their opinion has to win. They can't handle being wrong, even when it's obvious. Their ego overrides reality and it ruins any chance of honest connection. Number 2, they can't take feedback. Even gentle criticism feels like a full-on attack. Instead of reflecting, they get defensive, shut down, or blame you for being too sensitive. Feedback rattles their entire self-image. Number 3, they're highly reactive. They don't pause, they explode. Low EQ means they act on impulse. Whatever they feel, they say or do immediately. It's not passion, it's poor self-control. And it creates tension wherever they go. Number 4, they don't apologize, or it's insincere. They rush through it, avoid accountability, or say, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's performative. A real apology means owning the damage that was caused, not just trying to end the conversation. Number 5, they constantly cross boundaries. They say something hurtful, joke at your expense, or invade your space, and then act surprised when you're upset. Instead of owning the impact, they blame you for overreacting. Emotional intelligence means knowing where the line is and actually respecting it. Number 6, they make every conversation about them. You share something vulnerable and somehow it becomes their story. They interrupt, compare, or shift the focus back to themselves. They're not actually listening, they're waiting for their turn to talk.
All facts right there, man. So, family, you already know what it is. Peace, peace, and I'm out of here.